This is Drive Time with DeRUSH. Now, live from Minnesota's biggest microphone, here's Jason DeRUSH.
I know it's strange to say it in a community that has seen so much harm from a surge of ICE agents and rogue, reckless behavior. But I think having ICE agents go to the airports where we have massive lines is a good idea. Am I out of my mind for thinking this makes sense? 651-461-9226. New information just this afternoon, as Immigration and Customs Enforcement agents have already been deployed to 14 airports today. That is according to Border Czar Tom Homan. Now, not to Minneapolis-St. Paul Airport. And I have to say, I don't know what is in the water or in the breakfast cereal of the ICE agents who are stationed at Minneapolis-St. Paul Airport, but these women and men are freaking unbelievable. Going without pay for more than a month. More than 400 have quit. On Saturday, something like 12% of the workforce called in sick for different places all over the country. I think deploying other federal resources to help things move along makes nothing but sense. I'm trying hard to put aside my feelings about what happened with ICE here in Minneapolis and be logical about this. So you can call in and tell me I've lost my mind at 651-461-9226. I think that's what Howard in Minneapolis wants to do. Howard, you're on CCO.
They gave $38 billion to ICE. Take some of that ICE money and give it to the TSA agents. Be careful what you ask for. California and Florida rely on tourism revenues. Tourists have agency. After what happened in Minneapolis, they see ICE at the airport, people will cancel their flights. And our states are going to suffer from the loss of tourism revenue.
Don't you think people are going to cancel already if you're looking and seeing it's going to take 3-4 hours to get through checkpoints in Atlanta or at JFK or New Orleans, some of those cities, Phoenix, those are some of the cities they're sending ICE agents to.
Look at the numbers. Most of the people that are here out of status, it's actually student and travel visas, not the southern border. When you put ICE in the airports, the global citizens are going to stop coming.
What if, Howard, if there was a pledge to not do any sort of immigration enforcement, would you believe it?
No, because what happened in Minneapolis, the world saw it, what happened.
Yeah,
They're incompetent. They're not trained. Some of them are January 6ers.
I do think, I mean, your feelings on this are, I get it. Like, I get it. That was my first reaction to this. Like, ugh. Is there any other agency we could send? What about, I mean, would Border Patrol be better? There's something about ICE that I think it is triggering. But at the same time, like, I don't know, man. Like, it is the current situation is unacceptable too. And we can get into who we blame for that, whether it's
ICE is not the solution.
Yeah.
ICE is a gaslight saying the only people welcome in the U.S. are whites because he did his immigration quota in October. 7,500 white South Africans. That's it for the year.
Yeah.
When you put it all together, he's telling people what he said in Davos. The white nationalism that he said at Davos.
Right. That he wants how come we don't get the, Norwegians and the Finns and that sort of stuff.
It's unreal.
Yeah. No, I agree with you on that. Thanks, Howard. I appreciate the call. 651-461-9226. I think it makes sense to get more federal agents out there. Now, I would say there's three other things I would prefer to see first, right? Like, how about fund the government? How about The president this week, it was reported that Republicans in the Senate came to the president and said, look, what if we fund TSA and the other parts of the Department of Homeland Security, and we just don't fund sort of the border patrol, sort of the snatching up of people side of ICE. Not, we still fund border patrol. We still fund Homeland Security investigations. And the president said no, that the president wants to keep this fight going because he thinks it's a winner for Republicans. Rick is in St. Paul. Rick, would you be bothered if, for obvious reasons, it would be ludicrous to put ICE agents at the airport in Minneapolis, but would you be bothered if you saw them in New Orleans, for example?
Well, it wouldn't bother me, and I hate to say it because I'm a white person and they wouldn't bother me. But, I do agree with some people. They do look at minorities and whatnot. And I think my biggest problem I have is I'd like to know what it's costing to do this. Now, we can't fund, our government can't take care of TSA agents as it is. And we should be funding them. And, if we're going to do this to certain people, government jobs, then we should be doing it to all the representatives and senators and everybody else. Give them a pay cut during this time, too.
100% agree. 100% agree.
Pardon me?
I 100% agree with you. It is disgusting that the hardworking men and women of the TSA and of the Border Patrol or frankly, in other circumstances, when you have a government shutdown, any government worker, that they should be used as pawns in this sort of political negotiation. It is the peak of disgusting, I think.
Yep, it is. And the other problem I have with it is how much an hour these guys are getting paid, and they're not experienced to do the job. And TSA goes through more training than what most of these people have. Their training is a lot deeper than what most of us know. And the other side of it, getting back to the cost part of it, is you're sending all these people to New Orleans and how much per night is it costing for hotel stays, dinner allowances, and then most of them are making $40-50 an hour probably. Oh my God! I mean, what's it costing, and where's the money coming from? Taxpayers.
Yep, no doubt. The incompetence of the fact that Congress, I don't blame. And it's Republicans and Democrats who are saying, look, we have an opportunity here to change the way that ICE is doing its job after what happened in Minneapolis. Congress is saying we got to change some of this stuff, and this is their opening. If they just fund the whole thing, they lose that opening.
Right.
At a certain point, you can't hold American employees hostage for this policy goal. I feel like you may have to lose the battle so you can fight the war another day.
Right. I agree with you.
Thanks, Rick. Appreciate the call. 651-461-9226. Now, when it comes to what ICE is doing, they're not doing any of the TSA main functions. So they're not doing security screening. They're not operating the X-ray machine. But they are doing some of like the line management. They're doing some of the guarding of the exits, for example, where you have TSA agents sort of sitting at that kind of parade of double doors you go out when you're leaving the airport. It's only been one day, so I mean, if anybody expects that today, all of a sudden at these 13 airports, kabam, like the whole problem has been solved. I don't think so. And when you have 10% of TSA calling out and then you have another couple hundred just straight up quitting their job, you're not going to solve the problem. But can you make some impact around the edges? Maybe after a week. Does it make things a little bit better? I don't know. But doing something makes sense to me. Doing nothing because there's well-earned and correct baggage around ICE. But to me, doing something makes a lot of sense. We'll break. Lots of texts coming in, and I'll share more of your thoughts. Your phone calls welcome as well. 651-461-9226. ICE agents at the airport It makes sense to me. Back in just a minute here on CC.
This is Drive Time with DeRusha on News Talk 830 WCCO.
I was just talking to my friends at Livia Weight Control Centers today about some of the new, there's always something new over there, which is one of the things I love about Livia's approach to helping people be healthier, helping people feel better about themselves. And, of course, helping people lose weight. It's Jason for Livia. I lost 45 pounds thanks to the team at the Livia Weight Control Centers in Coon Rapids. Today, I'm staying on track thanks to telehealth, checking in on the phone, coupled with in-person visits. All of this is available to you. And if you're interested in GLP-1s, oh, man, nothing more powerful than the combination of Livia's one-on-one counseling, the customized, personalized plan they create for you, and that GLP-1. Starting, by the way, at just $99 while supplies last. So I would get in on that if you're interested. Award-winning nutrition, yep, that's still part of the process. $17 a week is where that starts. Registered dietitians, nutrition experts, but they're adding in new stuff like hormone replacement therapy. Oh, so many women I know are experiencing perimenopause or menopause symptoms. Hormone replacement therapy can help you out there. Bottom line is, if you're ready to lose weight, feel better, and take control of your health, Livia can help. Give them a shot. They changed my life, no doubt about it. Livia.com, Livea.com, or call 855-GO-LIVIA to schedule a free consultation and do it today.
Protect your family with the Byrna Less Lethal Launcher. Trusted by 700 police departments, government agencies, and security firms. The Byrna Launcher has powerful, non-lethal deterrents. Legal in all 50 states, it requires no background checks or permits and ships right to your door. Visit Byrna.com. Byrna. Byrna.com.
I'm back to doing what I love and more. Thanks to the Good Feet store.
Don't suffer through foot pain, sore ankles, tired legs, aching back and hips, or sore knees. Call the Good Feet store. The Good Feet Arch Support System is designed to relieve pain and stress in the body with over 350 styles and sizes. Located in Maple Grove, Burnsville, Woodbury, and Roseville. Call 855-554-3338. Stop in for your complimentary fitting. In as little as 40 minutes, you could be walking out pain-free.
Thanks to the Good Feet store.
Italian subs for your finance team in Chicago. Easy Cater. Burritos for your call center crew in Plano. Easy Cater. Bagels for your sales reps meeting clients in Charlotte. Easy Cater. Hot chicken sandwiches for your third shift warehouse workers in Memphis. Easy Cater. Your teams may be spread out across the country, but you've got one platform to feed them all, whenever and wherever they work, with food they love from favorite restaurants. Easy Cater. Food for the workplace, all in one place. Order now at easycater.com.
Hear that? That's Mike. He took ZQL Pure Z's, so now he's sleeping soundly on a Sunday night. ZQL Pure Z's are fast-acting melatonin gummies with a complementary botanical blend to help Mike get the sleep he needs to wake up refreshed and ready to conquer Monday.
Let's do this Monday.
ZQL Pure Z's, just for sleep. Really great sleep. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Use as directed.
You're listening to Drive Time with DeRusha. Video streaming live on YouTube and always, and I mean always, on your radio at News Talk 830 WCCO.
I know, and get myself together. Use the force.
Texters are not holding back at 651-461-9226. But right now at Houston, the airport, the wait line, according to CNN, the wait time is 4.5 hours, 4.5 hours. Texters, Jason, yes, you are out of your mind, the usual. Maybe so. I think it makes sense to send TSA to the airports. And I think it makes more sense right now to send ICE to the airports. I underscore my absolute impress nature, my respect for the ICE agents at our airport, who have been freaking amazing. And this is the second time now that a government shutdown has delayed their pay. Now, we say they're working without pay, and some texters are drawing the line and saying, no, their pay is just delayed. What I would say to you is, let's delay your pay, you pompous pain in the butt. Yes. Oh, it's only delayed. It's only delayed. Yes. However, if my paycheck shows up 7 minutes late, I'm marching into my boss's office. But sure, these TSA agents should have to work with a delayed paycheck. Lovely. These are our neighbors. Like, let's be a little more empathetic to their situation. Andrew makes an interesting point, saying that as a nation, maybe we need only one police force. So we have FBI, we have TSA, we have ICE, we have, on and on and on. We have all these different federal agencies. So when one fails, Andrew adds on YouTube, the whole nation suffers. Maybe we need one force so people can be trained to do different things. I mean, I would say what we really need is to stop jerking people around in Congress by using people's salary as a sort of negotiating tool. And I get it that Congress feels like they got nothing else in the toolbox. There's what else can they do to really have an impact? But right now, I think you have Democrats in Congress who are trying to make policy change, and you have a president who is enjoying the fight and feels he is winning because people will blame the Democrats. And so in the meantime, we wait. People quit their jobs, and you have wait times so severe that cable news is putting TSA wait times like a election day ticker on the screen. Let's go to Dusty in Richfield. Dusty, TSA agents, I don't know if it's going to make an impact or not, but I like the idea of making an effort at least. What do you think?
I say stop Congress's pay.
Yeah.
That's all you got to do is stop Congress's pay and say, you did it to the TSA, we'll do it to you. You're voting for the politicians. They're getting taxpayer money. Quit voting for them politicians.
Do you blame the Republicans or the Democrats for this current situation, Dusty?
Both.
Yeah.
Both.
Yeah, I mean, the Republicans are in control of the House and the Senate and the White House. However, Democrats can hold things up. So, it's one of those things where everybody's right to say it's the other side's fault. But there was a path to a solution this weekend presented to President Trump, and he chose not to take it. So to me, that's pretty telling,
Stop paying them all.
Yeah. Thanks, Dusty. I'm with you. I do think if you were running for Congress, wouldn't that be a winner? Where you're like, I'm going to pass a bill that would make sure in the event of a shutdown of any agency, where any government taxpayer-paid person is not getting paid, then Congress doesn't get paid. Now, the reality is most of these guys are so rich, it doesn't really matter. They could skip a paycheck or two, you know what I mean? Michael's in Northeast Minneapolis. Michael, thanks for listening. Am I off my rocker here and thinking it makes some sense to send TSA or send ICE into airports?
Well, here's my problem. The ICE agent seems pretty incompetent with doing their own job. So now you're asking them to go in and do someone else's job of which they haven't been trained for.
I mean, you're basically asking them to be like a school safety patrol, right? Like you're asking them to guard some lines and guard some exits, like some of the less intense training needed part of the TSA job.
Yeah, you're going to have to basically give them janitorial work because, I mean, again, they haven't been able to do their own job, so why would you expect them to be able to do someone else's job competently?
That's fair.
As for the politicians' pay and suspending that, I'm sorry, I'm very jaded with all politicians in general. You can stop their pay; it don't matter. They make so much off of all the other stuff that they do that it wouldn't even affect them.
I think that's right. There are a handful of elected officials at that level, at the House or the Senate, that like are living sort of paycheck to paycheck, you hear about certain U.S. House representatives, especially, who are like rooming with other people in Washington, D.C. because they don't.
The newly elected ones that have been in office for about a year.
Yes. Yeah. That's exactly right. Thanks, Michael. Appreciate it. Kyle's in Robbinsdale. Kyle, thanks for listening. ICE at the airport. Not here. I think Minneapolis, it would be lunacy to do it here. But at some of these airports, what do you think?
Well, they've already snatched a mom from her daughter in the airport in San Francisco.
I did hear about that. The one. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it starts with one, right? Just like it did here, just like it did everywhere else.
Yeah.
Ice is ice.
Yeah. That's fair, Kyle. Thank you. What happened at the airport, and as always, the initial response of some of these things, you never quite fully know. But the reports coming out today are that ICE agents detained a woman at the airport in San Francisco. There was video of it happening. But, like, we don't know. We don't know the whole deal. The video is all over social media. It looks like officers arresting a woman. Now, the airport, the San Francisco airport said they believe that this was an isolated incident, and they have no reason to suspect that broader enforcement, immigration enforcement, is happening. But I think, look, one of our texters said that that having ICE at the airport is fine as long as they behave. First sign of misdeeds and they're gone. Is this the first sign of misdeeds? I don't know, right? Like, I don't know. But I feel a little better that this is a Tom Homan operation and not a Greg Bovino operation. Texters say ICE isn't doing a dang thing at the airports. It's day one. It's day one. We all go to the airport and you see TSA agents sitting at stations outside of doors or standing at the front of a line. So I'm not willing to say, like, this is a flop, this is a failure. Like, it's day one. Texters say, what is ICE going to do at the airport? Just stand around and get in the way. Another one of Trump's half-baked ideas, and JD is dumb enough to agree. Maybe. Maybe it will be a dumb idea. I don't know. Part of me thinks that, like, if you have them at the airport doing, like, line security, at least they're not out here doing what they were doing in our streets. Mark is in Rosemount. Mark, pretty much everybody disagrees with me on this one. You going to join the parade, or what do you think?
Yeah, completely. And you contradict yourself.
Well, that's what I do. That's what I do.
Yeah, that's what you do, big time. And it's, you said that they're going to, or Trump and you said that they're going to go there to monitor, blah, 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 and help the line along. Well, why are they arresting people already? That's not supposed to be what they're doing.
I mean, we don't know. We don't know the details of that yet, right? One person arrested in a video we saw on social media.
Well, that's one. That's,
But we don't know the details. We don't know yet.
Yeah, but the news always talks about everything before you get all the details. Breaking news, this is happening. You do that all the time. You're saying, that this is going to happen, whatever. And then they're, are they taking their masks off like the other TSA agents in there?
So far, yes. The president the president asked them not to have their masks on. That was like a Trump post this morning.
Okay, and do you believe everything that he tells you?
I believe 0% of what he tells me, but so far, what we've seen in video from places around the country has been that. Is there another agency that would make sense, Mark? That for you would say like, yep, that helps.
No, pay the TSA agents
Well, we agree on that, but like.
Yeah, but the Republicans have already said you know, they've voted down every time that the Democrats just wanted to even put in a measure just to pay the TSA, not do anything else, but get those guys paid. You know, do that.
Yeah.
My God.
I totally
ridiculous.
agree with you. I totally agree with you. Thank you, Mark. I totally agree that it's time for Republicans to just accept paying the TSA. Like, let's do that. But the president likes and wants the fight because he thinks it's helping him that people are going to blame the Democrats in this. I don't know. On YouTube, the real issues are being brought out that one of our fans, his electric toothbrush was stolen twice in his checked luggage. Could we get someone on that? I mean, who do we think is going through your checked luggage and is like, you know what I want? Electric toothbrush used. Yeesh. Let's break in a minute. This weekend, the body cam video of Justin Timberlake, the pop star, was all over the place. His field sobriety test, his interview in the police station, and it made me uncomfortable. Videos of DWI arrests, I don't think they should be public by default. We'll talk about that when we come back.
You're listening to Drive Time with DeRusha on News Talk 830 WCCO. Everything's better with Twins baseball. Why, even some of those old fairy tales we grew up with.
Grandma, what big ears you have.
Oh, the better to, hey, Little Red, turn up that radio behind you.
Oh my God, you're the big bad wolf.
See? Everything's better with Twins baseball on News Talk 830 WCCO.
The word Corbin symbolizes Barufka's popular bedroom collection for people with foresight and intelligence to understand long-term value.
A queen bed is Craftsman direct priced from $21.75 or $91 per month for 24 months.
Corbin also means raven or crow, so it's time for me to fly.
Oh, Jim. Barufka's no gimmicks, haggling, or hard-to-understand pricing in Woodbury, Burnsville, and Minnetonka.
Decidedly different.
If you have a vacant investment property and want to sell it, call the John Schuster Group with Coldwell Banker Realty. They can get you the most for your investment. I know. I've seen them in action. It's Vanita. John's marketing system helps him sell houses fast and for the most money possible. That's what you want. Craig just worked with the Good Neighbor agent, that's what we call him, John Schuster, to sell a home. Craig was building a new home and wanted someone to move in right when it was finished. John's marketing system helped Craig find a buyer on time. It took John, get this, 10 days to sell Craig's house for $15,000 over the asking price. This is a huge investment. You'll want to make money. And you start with, what is your home worth? Are you curious what your home's worth? Find out in seconds. Just go to johnschustergroup.com.
Buy a home, sell a home, we'll get you moving. johnschustergroup.com.
Terms and conditions may apply. Do you owe the IRS $10,000 or more in back taxes? Penalties and interest are piling up every single day. Wage garnishments and bank levies could hit any moment. If you've been avoiding it out of fear, you're not alone. But waiting only shrinks your options and ramps up the stress. The truth is, the IRS settles with taxpayers every day through legitimate programs, and many qualify to reduce what they owe, in some cases by up to 99%. That's why thousands turn to helpwithirsdebt.com. They've guided over 120,000 Americans, resolved more than $2.3 billion in tax debt, and back every case with their ironclad resolution guarantee. If there's no real path forward, you get a full refund, no fine print. They even randomly select one qualifying client each year and pay off their entire IRS balance. Terms apply. Don't let another day pass. Go to helpwithirsdebt.com right now. It's fast, easy, and confidential. Find out what's possible today. helpwithirsdebt.com. Once again, that's helpwithirsdebt.com.
Do you owe $10,000 or more to the IRS like Mark?
I've been doing home remodeling for 30 plus years, but the economy crashed. I wound up losing my home, losing my job, and on top of that, owing the IRS a ton of money. I owed the IRS $114,000. It really, truly was the worst part of my life.
Then Mark found tax relief advocates.
On news radio, I heard about TRA, and I thought, what's the worst that could happen? So I picked up the phone and I called them. When it was all said and done, TRA settled my $114,000 debt for $100, and I'm telling you, I was ecstatic. Could not believe it. Would recommend TRA to anyone.
If you owe 10 or even hundreds of thousands of dollars to the IRS, don't lose hope. Do what Mark did and call TRA for a consultation.
But TRA did. They gave me a second chance, and I'm forever grateful.
Visit TRA.com or call 800-491-9914. 800-491-9914. That's 800-491-9914.
Time to find out how it's moving on the roads and what's moving in via the skies. This is traffic and weather together on CCO, starting with a check of the commute.
I've got some slowdowns out there. East 494, Lindale to Cedar Avenue. Crosstown eastbound slows, 35W to Cedar Avenue. West 694, you get fine congestion in place. Highway 10 heading out toward Highway 252. USPS Ground Advantage reliable route 494 southbound free flowings move down from 394 to 212. Jerry Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
Hey, business owners, it's Tiki Barber. Are you looking to earn extra money? Of course you are. When your business partners with Amazon Hub Delivery, you simply drop off packages to Amazon customers in your neighborhood. Get started at Amazon.com/Hub Delivery.
Now, the latest conditions and the outlook for the next few days with your CCO forecast.
All right, forecast brought to you by Amazon Hub Delivery. Here is Chief Meteorologist Chris Schaefer.
Temperatures will be climbing the next couple of days, down to 33 tonight with a mostly cloudy sky. We'll stay mostly cloudy tomorrow with a high of 54. That's almost 10 degrees above average. Wednesday, the warm one. Partly cloudy with a high of 64, perhaps some rain showers on Thursday, notably cooler on Friday.
45 degrees, still pretty mild in Minneapolis here on CCO.
Jason DeRUSH.
You never know on this show, yes.
Nobody knows. Nobody knows.
Drive Time with DeRUSH on News Talk 830 WCCO.
DWI and drunk driving is a big problem in this country, but I do not think releasing police body cam video of people in this moment does anything to solve that problem. This weekend, it was Justin Timberlake, body cam video of the world famous pop star, although not so famous that he was known to or recognized by the police officer who pulled him over in Long Island. Justin Timberlake, June 18th, 2024. He was arrested on a charge of drunken driving. He sued to try to keep this body cam video from being public. And he ended up settling with the law enforcement agency for that video to be released. I do think that body cam video of most arrests is in the public interest because we want to know that police are doing the right thing. I do not think we have a public interest in knowing whether or not Justin Timberlake was slurring his words or being a jerk, which he wasn't, as far as I could tell. Here's a little bit of the audio.
So the reason for the stop is because you keep veering off to the left, and then you're not stopping at the stop signs.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
Is this your vehicle? Whose vehicle is it?
It's just a rental.
It's a rental? Okay. Do you have any registration with it? Do you know if they can put it in the glove box?
Let me check.
What are you visiting?
And so there was a moment where after that, when the officer is like, oh, well, what brought you here? And he says, I'm on a world tour. And then he says, I'm Justin Timberlake. I don't think drunk driving videos should be public. I don't think they should be public. 651-461-9226. I think if you as a citizen want to see your video as part of your defense and use that in court, yeah, that should be your choice. If you admit that you did it, if you're guilty, I think that the release of this video was just 100% to make Justin Timberlake look like a fool. The tabloids wanted it for clickbait, and it was all over all the websites this weekend. Why should this be public? Why? Now, I'm not saying we shouldn't have the right to get it. You should have the right to get your own video. But what public interest is served in seeing Justin Timberlake in this low moment other than just embarrassing him? And frankly, there's a large media interest in making a boatload of money off of embarrassing him because they know that people are going to look at this video. Now, you might say, Jason, it sounds like you looked at this video, and I would say, you know what? Let's not get bogged down in the details. Okay. I'm not proud of myself, okay? I have base instincts and love celebrity news like you do. But then I felt bad about it afterwards. It felt skeezy to me. There are a certain class of public records that and look, I spent my career like trying to get public records from law enforcement agencies that often have an interest in not sharing it with you. So part of why I rebel against things that are just designed to embarrass is that I do want to preserve the ability to get those records to see, well, what did the police do in this incident? Were they behaving? I care about how law enforcement was behaving. That's my interest as a taxpayer. But seeing this video come out just felt gross to me. And if I felt bad for Justin Timberlake, then I'm also thinking about, now, to a regular person, is there as much potential embarrassment? Probably not on a volume level. But if you turn your life around, should that, you go to rehab, maybe you become sober, your life has changed. Should that video then be with you forever? I don't know. I
understand what you're saying. I mean, I understand the vibe of, it's kind of skeezy, it's kind of gross. We don't necessarily need to see that. I get that. I totally get that. I just think you're asking the question from the wrong direction, because you obviously can't go through this on a individual case-by-case basis and say, no, Timberlake we can't show, but random DWI driver X we can show. Just there's no way to do that in any kind of efficient manner. So we have to rely on some sort of overarching principle, and the overarching principle for me is, transparency from the government, which is hard enough to get. But when they have body cam footage of arrests, that needs to be available for public records. Now, does that necessarily, and then wind up biting us a little bit and when it's in, embarrassing a celebrity? I mean, I guess, the other option is, Justin could maybe not drink and drive, and then he wouldn't be so embarrassed. So I get that feeling. The prurient interest of it sort of grosses you out. But I think the overarching principle that guides transparency in government has to win out over personal embarrassment.
Couldn't you just ban this particular crime? Because this is the crime. This offense is the crime that has you most likely to have a very embarrassing for prurient interest video. Your robbery isn't going to have that. Your no other crime, right? This is the crime where you're drunk, where you're you look like a fool. You could be most things. You're like, well, you stole something, or you were running from the cops, or you were, you know what I mean, like that type of arrest interaction.
But when you do that, you then have to find some sort of carve out to say, well, if it's a DWI video and it turns out the officer overstepped or misbehaved or beat up a suspect or whatever it is, now we've got to be able to make that public.
I do think it should be public for your lawyer. You and your lawyer should be able to get your video. Should the rest of us see it? That's where I think you could build a wall here.
I think you're going to run into the First Amendment pretty hard right there.
I don't know that the First Amendment requires that.
Press access to government records?
I mean, that's a good question. There's a Minnesota state senator, says a texter, who got a DWI a few years ago. If you're a public servant, then yes, it should be public. Yeah, interesting. Jason, maybe for some people, says a 320er. Just the fact that these videos go public is enough to keep them from driving drunk and killing someone. I don't think it is. And if it is enough, don't we have enough videos out there already? Couldn't we nip it in the bud now?
Well, but it's one thing for a video to be out there. It's another thing for my video to be out. I'm with you. I'm not a big believer in deterrence, especially when it comes to crimes.
Yes.
When you're talking about alcohol involved or some
addiction,
sort of chemicals.
perhaps,
When that becomes I don't know that deterrence really plays a big role in that. And, if there's one person whose life isn't taken because somebody said, no, I'm not going to do that because I saw that video and I don't want that ever to happen again, fine. If it's a minuscule statistical blip, fine. It's still a life. I'm good with that.
I'm not. I don't believe in we're going to harass 1 million people to save one life theory.
I don't find this to be harassment, though.
Yeah, that's fair. Texters say arrest records should not be on Facebook either. I think about that, too. We're in this sort of public shaming approach from police departments. A lot of this stuff where, like, used to... Here's what changed the game for me in all of this. And keep responding at 651-461-9226. It's the internet. Back when I was a young reporter, there was a different way that we had to get this stuff, and it didn't live with you forever. And I don't think the permanence of it is doing anybody any good. Back in a minute here on CCO.
You're listening to Drive Time with DeRUSH. Video streaming live on YouTube and always on your radio at News Talk 830 WCCO.
Taste what pork can do. That's what I want you to do. I want you to go to tastewhatporkcando.com. Put some flavor on the table. My goodness, nothing better than Minnesota pork. I love being able to support our 3,000 family farmers. Every corner of this state, they are working so hard in this time of year, especially as they get ready for the spring. It's a focus on the earth, taking care of their soil, taking care of the water. Many of our Minnesota family farmers who bring us lean, high-protein, delicious pork also farm other crops, and so taking care of their environment is just part of a way of life. We've had the opportunity to meet many third, fourth-generation farmers here, and they're just like you with the same concerns you have. For me, it makes that pork chop so much more delicious. So don't mess around. Get to the grocery store, get the butcher shop. Be proud when you say, I am having Minnesota pork for dinner tonight. Oh, yeah.
Get into your local running store Tuesday and Wednesday, March 24th and 25th, where everything is on sale. Well, almost everything. Save 12% on almost everything in the store. This includes most regular priced items, plus 25% on regular priced clothing and footwear. Also shop sporting goods, houseware, snacks, hardware, fishing, hunting, and much more. Bring the family to your local Runnings March 24th and 25th, where almost everything in the store is on sale. Go to Runnings.com for more information and to find a store near you. Runnings, now with 90 locations, your local home, farm, and outdoor store.
Want a great way to boost your brand? Custom labels at Staples will help packages pop, shipments stand out, and takeout boxes really take off. Shop now through April 18th and save 30% on all custom labels. Staples, that was easy.
I'm back to doing what I love and more. Thanks to the Good Feet store.
Don't
Don't suffer through foot pain, sore ankles, tired legs, aching back and hips, or sore knees. Call the Good Feet store. The Good Feet Arch Support System is designed to relieve pain and stress in the body with over 350 styles and sizes. Located in Maple Grove, Burnsville, Woodbury, and Roseville. Call 855-554-3338 or stop in for your complimentary fitting. In as little as 40 minutes, you could be walking out pain-free.
Thanks to the Good Feet store.
Time to find out how it's moving on the roads and what's moving in via the skies. This is traffic and weather together on CCO, starting with a check of the commute.
Got a crash working crosstown eastbound, make way toward Portland Avenue. It is off to the left side. Get ready for slowdowns essentially as you come in from the area of Tracy Avenue. Traveling 494 eastbound, some slowing there between 35W and Cedar Avenue. Over on the East Metro, 35E northbound, a little bit of congestion in play there between Victoria Street and downtown St. Paul. Jerry Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCL.
Now, the latest conditions and the outlook for the next few days with your CCO forecast.
Forecast for tonight is a low of 33 degrees, mostly cloudy. Tomorrow we get up to 54. Wednesday, 64. The average high is 45. That's what it is right now in St. Paul on CCO.
You're listening to Drive Time with DeRUSH. Video streaming live on YouTube and always on your radio at News Talk 830 WCCO.
Nobody needs to see the body cam videos of somebody being pulled over for DWI. Nobody except maybe the person who was pulled over and their lawyer. Today, when these videos go viral, it is for embarrassment, as it happened with Justin Timberlake. And, you know, is there a public good here? There's a whole category of law enforcement data that sort of falls into where I think about, should this be public? Mugshots. Should mugshots be public? What's the purpose of that? Should arrest records be public? I think yes. Being able to know people's criminal history, I think, makes sense. One texter said that they don't think arrest records should be on Facebook. I do wonder. It is a distribution thing, and another texter points that out because maybe that is the issue about distribution rather than the right to access it. And I do think that's really what I'm getting at here. That there was a time if you wanted these types of records, you had to physically go down to the police station, fill out a form, wait a couple days, and then you'd get it. It is better that we get it quicker. It's better for journalism. It's better for transparency, sort of, I guess. Do we think do we trust the police more? I don't know. The more has transparency helped? I'm not certain. But my bias is for transparency. I do think any individual should have the right to access every piece of data around their own arrest, but should I have the right to see Dan Cook's arrest? Why? I think we could draw some lines around the type of information that gets put on the internet or gets widely accessed.
What if I'm a public official? City council person, mayor, governor,
Does the
whatever.
video change it?
Depends on what's on the video, doesn't it? But if
Yeah.
I'm somebody that's asking the public to put a certain level of trust and responsibility into my hands,
it's a good.
do they not have the right
Yeah.
to see that video?
Can I not have an answer to you? Because I think it's a really good question.
I mean, it's your show. You can technically do whatever you want.
I want to think about it more because I do think that public officials should be held to a different standard. But then do you define a public official as like somebody who's like a volunteer on the Board of Taxation? I guess.
I think anybody that, the public is placing some sort of authority or trust in like that qualifies.
I don't know.
Which includes law enforcement and fire
teachers.
and
then you're at a certain point, then you have an unfair scenario where you're protecting the average person. and sticking somebody who just happens to work for like the auditor's office.
But isn't holding anybody to a quote unquote higher standard doing that?
I think an elected official, maybe I'd meet you halfway and say if you're elected, I don't think anybody who just gets a paycheck from a public agency should be part of it. Maybe ultimately I'm just blaming ourselves, like that we want to see this. It's very unnecessary. And it doesn't teach us anything. What's the point? It's just embarrassing again. It is 3:58. That is our Continental Diamond time check. Go get the greatest selection of diamond jewelry in town. Go check it out at Continental Diamond.
I'm Kiara Palazzolo, VP of Digital Marketing for the American Management Association, a company focused on the management training skills needed to enhance the careers of business professionals. We did our research when it came to the best companies for website development and chose AmericanEagle.com. And we couldn't be happier. AmericanEagle.com worked closely with us to understand the front and back end requirements needed to launch an e-commerce website that could handle the complexities of running thousands of seminars nationwide. Our robust new website and improved SEO saw immediate increases in site traffic and web revenue. If you're in need of managerial effectiveness and success, visit our website at amanet.org. If you're in need of a website that provides an unparalleled consumer experience, I highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Transform your business today. Dial 877-WEB-NOW1 for a free digital consultation with AmericanEagle.com.
Staples presents That Was Easy.
So I own a coffee shop, and I wanted to label everything with our logo.
That's ambitious.
Cups, boxes, bags.
Ooh, that'll add up.
Not at all, because right now, Staples prints custom labels for 30% off.
30% off? That's shockingly affordable branding.
Yep, now our logo and URL are seen all over town.
Brand your business for less at Staples.
That was easy.
Shop Staples in-store, online, or in the app by 4/18 to unlock. Exclusions apply. Visit staples.com/print for details.
News Talk 830 WCCO, Minneapolis, St. Paul.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by JTV.com.
I'm Jennifer Kuiper. An Air Canada jet carrying more than 70 passengers collides with a fire truck while landing at New York's LaGuardia Airport, killing 2 pilots, injuring several other people, and leaving a runway closed until Friday. Officials say the fire truck was crossing the tarmac late last night after being given permission to check on another plane reporting an odor on board. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy.
As our airports go, LaGuardia is a very well-staffed airport. We're a couple controllers short in total, but it is a well-staffed airport. Again, 33 certified controllers that operate out of the tower here at LaGuardia.
Secretary Duffy says the collision is under investigation. The Trump administration sends ICE agents to airports to help TSA workers as they remain on the job without pay. CBS's Nicole Skanga has more from George Bush International Airport in Houston.
What I will say about ICE personnel, we have seen them sort of on the front end of some of these passenger screening lines here in Houston. We're at George Bush International Airport right now, and DHS says they're really being used sort of as a multiplier in targeted roles. So checking passenger identification, monitoring some of the exit lanes, and managing crowds.
Stocks rallied on market hopes for an end to the conflict with Iran. CBS's Jason Brooks.
President Trump gave stocks a big boost when he said there have been constructive talks with Iran, although the gains were pared back after Iran claimed that no talks have taken place. Investors, though, are desperate for a potential off-ramp, with the market stumbling lower for 4 consecutive weeks.
The Dow closed up 631 points. The Nasdaq jumped 299. An overnight arson attack in the British capital.
I'm Vicky Barker in London. 4 ambulances belonging to Hatzolah, a Jewish volunteer charity, were set on fire. Community leader Mark Gardner says Hatzolah's paramedics help Jews and non-Jews.
This attack is all the more sickening for the nature of what Hatzolah does in saving life.
No one was injured, but exploding oxygen tanks in the burning ambulances blew out windows in nearby homes, forcing more than 30 residents to evacuate.
While in Memphis, President Trump stops for a private tour of Graceland.
Let's take a look.
All right, so welcome to the living room.
The president said he loved Elvis.
I'm a big fan of Elvis.
Who isn't, right?
And his music.
I don't get tired of that music. I hear it a lot.
But never got a chance to meet him.
I knew Frank Sinatra. I knew most of them.
At the end of the tour,
What a beautiful guitar.
President Trump signed a guitar.
Did he play this guitar?
His tour guide said no, it was a replica guitar that the king never played. Stacey Lynn, CBS News, the White House.
This is CBS News.
Looking for spring jewelry looks? Find them at Jewelry Television. New customers get $20 off purchases of $99 or more at jtv.com.
Minnesota's trusted voice. Every hour. Let's get you caught up with what's happening now on News Talk 830 WCCO.
Partly cloudy, 45 degrees at 4:03. I'm Laura Oakes. An outpouring of grief from the local hockey community and beyond after a beloved reporter for the Minnesota Wild and her 3 young children died in a house fire this weekend. Hockey writer and broadcaster Judd Zulgad telling WCCO's Chad Hartman about the impact his friend Jessi Pierce had on everyone around her.
And Jessi had the wonderful ability to make everybody feel important. And this is going to sound cliche, and I know that we often talk kindly of those who have departed, but I can't remember anyone who didn't like her.
The state fire marshal's office will release the official cause of the fire, which is still under investigation. Pierce's husband was out of town at the time. A GoFundMe account has been set up to help him with expenses. The Minneapolis City Council will vote this week on whether to override Mayor Jacob Fry's veto of a policy that would double the notice period before someone is evicted to 60 days. Kristen Crabtree with Minneapolis Families for Public Schools says without that extra time, families who have struggled in the wake of Operation Metro Surge will be displaced before $40 million in state rental assistance becomes available in July.
It is irresponsible not to take every action we possibly can to prevent this existing public health emergency from spiraling further. We can prevent evictions. Not to do so is a costly and cruel choice.
The push comes as legal advocates report an 87% surge in rental aid requests and record-breaking eviction filings following the operation. A bill that would repeal the March 31st Cesar Chavez Day in Minnesota is being fast-tracked in the Minnesota House. It follows allegations by multiple women who have accused the late farm union and civil rights leader of sexual abuse. Amelia Avalos is executive director of Unidos Minnesota.
We are repealing Cesar Chavez Day because we have a higher bar for truth, a higher bar for accountability, and a higher bar for anyone whose name we choose to elevate, honor, and institutionalize.
St. Paul Mayor Cully Herr says they're listening to the community about changing the name of a street named after Chavez, and the founder of a public charter school named after him says they will be changing the name. Our urban coyote population appears to be leveling off, according to University of Minnesota researchers.
Wildlife researcher Jeffrey Miller says there are hundreds of them estimated to be living in the metro today, and that this shift in habitat has changed things like their hunting behaviors in a major way, making them more nocturnal creatures.
That more nocturnal activity is actually a shift from what you see in natural environments. For example, in Yellowstone, if you're going to track coyotes there, you're going to see them being more active during daylight hours. But to live alongside people, they do have to shift their activity.
He says ongoing community-led tracking and new maps are being developed to protect the species by teaching residents how to share the urban landscape. Taylor Rivera, News Talk 830, WCCO.
And WCCO News Time is 4:06.
Time to find out how it's moving on the roads and what's moving in via the skies. This is traffic and weather together on CCO, starting with a check of the commute.
And it is brought to you by Linda's Construction, lindasconstruction.com. Crosstown eastbound near Portland Avenue. That accident has cleared out, but another one in the area. This one is going to be on 35W southbound near 66th Street. Traffic slows as you come out of the Crosstown Commons. West 94 slows through Minneapolis as you move past 11th Avenue to the Lowry Hill Tunnel. And still got slowdowns north side of Metro West 694, 35W to 252. Get ready for the season ahead with clog-free Leaf Guard brand gutters now with free installation labor this March. Go to lindasconstruction.com. Jerry Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
Now, the latest conditions and the outlook for the next few days with your CCO forecast.
And with that, here's WCCO TV Chief Meteorologist Chris Schaefer.
Clouds will increase as we head into the night tonight, falling back to 33. Tomorrow, a bump warmer. Mostly cloudy with a high around 54 degrees. The warmest day of the week still looks to be Wednesday with a high up around 64. We could see some sprinkles of rain on Thursday.
Partly cloudy right now, 45 at News Talk 830 WCCO.
Where Minnesota checks in and finds its voice.
Long-time caller, first-time listener.
News Talk 830 WCCO. Good questions. Topics you'll probably talk about at dinner. Places to go for dinner. This is the Ride Home Reimagined. Welcome to Drive Time with DeRUSH. Now, here's Jason DeRUSH.
Never speak ill of the dead. Seems so quaint and outdated, doesn't it? Welcome to Drive Time. It's Jason. Do you still believe in that? Do you still believe in that approach? 651-461-9226. This half hour, we're going to have a couple conversations about how we deal with death. We begin with a reminder that the President of the United States is a grade A-hole. He is. If you deny it, you are in denial. He is. That doesn't mean that you can't find certain things he advocates to be agreeable. You're allowed to vote for the guy because you didn't like the other choice. I mean, it's sort of a A or B situation in America. So you're allowed, all of this stuff is fine. And it's not just leftist radio shock jock Jason DeRUSH saying this about Donald Trump. Pat Garofalo, a former Republican member of the State House of Representatives. A lot of people were trying to get Pat to run for Senate. He says Trump's post about Mueller's death is not a surprise. Every once in a while, we need to be reminded that the current president of the United States is a major league and a horrible human being. When Robert Mueller, the former director of the FBI, who investigated Donald Trump, died, Donald Trump posted, Robert Mueller just died. Good. I'm glad he's dead. He can no longer hurt innocent people. President Donald J. Trump. All caps. The all caps, I think, is a nice flourish. So you know it was him. You know it was him. The president is, as Pat Garofalo described him. And maybe we don't care anymore. Maybe it doesn't matter. I think we could accept that former presidents have certainly had these thoughts about other people who died, right? We all have. We all have. Now, is there public benefit in keeping your worst thoughts to yourself? I would say yes. When did we decide that there's some greater morality in speaking your truth instead of saying, you know what, that person knew when to zip it? Sometimes you have to just shut up. The president of the United States didn't have to post anything. We knew how he felt. We all have had people in our life. Maybe you have a family member you were estranged with, or a nemesis at work, or the neighbor who wouldn't stop bothering you. I think what Donald Trump has done now, and this is a pattern, it's not a one-off, right? He did this when Rob Reiner died. And he got criticism for that. He did it again Saturday against Robert Mueller. Nobody can criticize anyone for whatever they say when Donald Trump dies. He is essentially, open the floodgates for this. And I do think this is a different sort of thing. Now, bear in mind, wasn't that long ago when Republicans were trying to get people fired for speaking ill of podcaster Charlie Kirk, which on this show we talked about. I thought the way people were jumping to do a deep dive on the things they disagree with Charlie Kirk about, I thought was gross. The guy was assassinated. The appropriate response is, my God, what has happened to this country? I hope his wife is all right. But for Donald Trump, again now, to be publicly gleeful about someone's death, it's just a reminder that this is what people voted for. And was the world going this way anyway? I don't think so. I don't think anybody else as president of the United States would use the public platform in this way. I think often many of these things, and Dan, we talk about this a lot, right? Yeah. Like society was moving in this direction. Donald Trump isn't the cause of the coarseness.
No, he's a symptom, not a cause.
But I do think this is unique. Publicly.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we can't.
For someone in that position.
Right, we can't know that there wouldn't have been somebody else that came along and did this necessarily. It's just there's no way to prove that, obviously. But
which is the beauty of why I can say it.
Right, but I mean, he's the one.
100%.
He's the one that actually did it. So
he did it.
This is where we are. And he's freed, obviously, a lot of people up to say, look, the president can say whatever he thinks and doesn't matter about norms or decency or any of the kinds of things that used to prevent politicians in that job from saying and doing these kinds of things. Because like you said, every single one of us has thought something like this once upon a time. But we've decided as a culture now that we don't have to worry about that. We can just say whatever we want. And if we get criticized for it, then we turn around and say, but look at all the horrible things that they said about Charlie Kirk. And you said it. Think about all the horrible things that will be said when Donald Trump dies. And they absolutely will be said. They will be. And they absolutely will be horrible and indecent. So why shouldn't he get to just say whatever he wants? Because it's going to happen to him. It's happened to others. So why not? That's the pushback. And so ultimately we have to decide as a society where we can't agree on anything right now.
Right.
But unless we were going to decide as a society, no, we liked it when people were actually tried to be decent when they're speaking publicly as public officials. We'd like to go back to that. I'm not sure you put that toothpaste back in the tube.
I miss it.
I do too.
I don't think everybody has to.
I think a lot of people would say that.
Yeah.
But not enough of us are willing to actually vote that way or do what
there are other reasons that people have decided are more important.
Yeah.
A texter, I think, makes a correct point about this, like, don't speak ill of the dead. And the texter says, I don't believe in that because I've educated younger family members, so dysfunctional trends are continued. I do think you're allowed to do whatever you want to do. I do think there is productive energy around talking about bad behavior, bad patterns, even after someone has passed. I do think if it's in the hours afterwards and you're like, ding dong, the witch is dead, like that's maybe a you issue more than you're trying to correct dysfunctional patterns.
That's just it. I mean, it's one thing to deal with family when you're talking about dysfunction and generational trauma. That's a different level than the president of the United States blasting on social media, I'm glad a person's dead.
It's just gross.
As a kind of, I mean, you can say don't speak ill of the dead as a general rule, and then make obviously understandable,
Yeah, there are exceptions.
Deviations
for sure.
from that
No
when you're
doubt.
dealing with family stuff, right? This isn't that.
In a minute, Dan's got a Monday message for us. There has been such a beautiful response to one of the most unimaginable tragedies that hit a family that a lot of us in the media know. And a lot of you know from following her on social media or following her coverage of the Minnesota Wild through her podcast or through social media. Jessi Pierce was on our show talking hockey about 9 months ago. We had her on. And she died this weekend along with her 3 kids after a fire in the overnight hours in White Bear Lake. Dan has some thoughts on dealing with death, and I have a couple thoughts about the outpouring of love that we've seen too. Drive Time back in a minute here on CCO.
This is Drive Time with DeRUSH on News Talk 830 WCCO.
Jason here with a bit of a wake-up call because guess what is right around the corner? It is almost my favorite season of the year. It is almost lawn care season. Oh, baby. Pro Turf is ready to rock. They want to see you so badly. I got my phone call from the local team at professionalturf.com earlier today. They called me up and they're like, Jason, like, you got to send in your form if you want us to take care of your lawn this spring. I'm like, well, of course I want you to take care of the lawn. Pro Turf has taken my lawn at my home and taken it from sort of blah to unbelievable. Right now is the time to get in on the action at professionalturf.com and get that team out there to fertilize, to take care and make your lawn more lush, longer lasting, and environmentally healthy. Landscaping, irrigation, plant health care, they do it all because they just love this stuff. If you want to see some of the evidence of the great work that the Pro Turf team does, go to professionalturf.com. You can get a free estimate right on their website, and you can click through some of the great pictures on some of the projects that they've done. There are not a ton of landscapers that'll do like middle or smaller size projects. They're ready to like clean out your rock or your mulch and change it out. Concrete pavers, natural stone patios, retaining walls, mulch bed maybe for this time of year. They'll do all of it. You can get that free estimate at professionalturf.com or make the call. They're right there in Lakeville. Take care of my yard. Awesome people. 952-469-8680. That's Pro Turf.
Spring cleaning is upon us, but there's one meaningful box that you don't throw away when cleaning out your closet. It's the box filled with your family's important videotapes, film reels, and photos. Hi, I'm Adam Baselogger.
And I'm Nick Mako. We started Legacy Box over a decade ago to help families organize and update their analog media to digital.
Legacy Box is simple and easy. It works and is safe. Over 1 million families have trusted Legacy Box.
And Legacy Box has been featured in Good Housekeeping, The Today Show, and Rachel Ray.
Legacy Box is like magic, converting your shoebox of memories to the cloud or thumb drive, ready to watch and share.
Declutter your closet by digitizing your media. Become more organized and accomplished, knowing your family's recorded past is safe forever. Take advantage of our spring cleaning sale going on now. It's the easiest task to check off your to-do list.
For a limited time, you can get started for just $9 a tape. Visit legacybox.com/radio to get our $9 sale. That's legacybox.com/radio to get our $9 offer. Legacybox.com/radio.
The one real estate agent that really gets results, John Schuster of the John Schuster Group, Coldwell Banker Realty. Paul joins us now. What was your experience like working with the Schuster Group?
We had heard a number of their radio spots on WCCO, and we also attended John and Paul Douglas's home selling seminar. Tim and Abby came out and met with us.
How were they?
I have one word, and that's exceptional. They went above and beyond our expectations. We put our house on the market on a Thursday morning, and within 48 hours, we had 7 offers. We were able to fortunately sell our house for over $50,000 over ask. John and his team deliver exactly what they say they're going to deliver. You know, I truly think these are people that have your best interest in mind. If we had to do this all over again, there's only one phone call I would make, and that'd be to Tim and Abby Lehman.
952-222-9000 online, johnschustergroup.com.
You're listening to Drive Time with DeRUSH
This sounds like torture to me.
on News Talk 830 WCCO.
Making Sunday sermon have Monday meaning. Now, let's hear faith-based teaching with real-world application. Here's our own Dan Cook with today's Monday message.
Well, the word started to spread on Saturday afternoon that a beloved reporter who covered the Minnesota Wild, Jessi Pierce, and her 3 children were found dead in a house fire. It obviously shook people who knew her. I knew her a little. She and I both did Livia, so we hung out at a big Livia party, celebrating 15 years of that. I followed her on social media, and we had her on the show.
Yeah.
But when you have something this difficult, where, yes, this hits harder for the public side of this, right? But I will tell you, this would be a huge story regardless of Jessi Pierce being known in the media, because just the shock of it, right?
Yeah.
You think about what happened here, that you just have a family that goes to sleep after they went to opening day at the Cup and Cone. Jessi and her 3 kids, the last social media post she did of those 3 kids, and then 10 hours later, they're gone. It's unthinkable. And so often we turn to faith and try to explain things and figure it out. So here's Dan.
Thanks, Jason. Yeah, I didn't know Jessi at all, really. I mean, we had the one interaction on the show. I didn't know her. I do know people, and I know you do too. Actually, I know people very well who knew her very well. And that's how I found out. It was through a social media post from a friend of mine who knew her very, very well. And just shocking, obviously. And there's so much pain and there's so much grief. And I knew my friend was close to her and was feeling some of that pain and grief. So I reached out and just offered condolences and, whatever little bit I can do to try and help comfort people when that kind of pain and grief visits. And that friend of mine mentioned that at church that Sunday, the pastor had talked about the story of Lazarus being raised from the dead. And so death was very central. And while that message maybe didn't land quite as much as my friend hoped it would, it did stir up the feelings of grief and that feeling of pain at the loss, and really, was causing her some deep pain. And so maybe that message wasn't helpful, but I think there is something in that story that can be helpful when we're talking about the pain and the grief that people are experiencing when they lose someone. Because the obvious question is why? And this would be whether Jessi was well known in the public or not well known in the public. There would be that same level of pain and grief and people crying out why. Why would God allow something like this to happen? Why, if we live in a world that has this omnipotent creator that cares for us, how in the world is a mother and 3 kids allowed to perish in this kind of fashion? Which is a perfectly understandable question. And sadly, the real truth is nobody really has a good answer for that. There are some people who think they have answers for that. They're generally not good answers. They talk about plans and they talk about, bigger pictures and inscrutability and all these things. I don't know that really helps anybody. I don't think any of those answers really comfort anybody. And the truth of the matter is, even if we knew what the quote unquote answer was, I'm not sure we'd find it all that comforting. But I do think questions like, what is God doing now? And where do we go with our grief? What do we do with this pain that we feel? What do we do with that? I think there are answers to those questions that offer a lot more comfort. And that's what takes us back to this Lazarus story, which occurs in John 11. Jesus has come to visit family and friends of his, friends and loved ones of his friend Lazarus, who has died. And he talks with Lazarus' sisters, Mary and Martha, who are asking that very why question that I just talked about. Why weren't you here? If you had been here, you could have stopped this. We know that you could have saved him. Why weren't you here? And he tries to answer, but they're not really understanding what he's trying to say. And it's after that, right after that, that something I think really interesting happens. Because he knows in that moment that he's about to raise Lazarus from the dead. He's about to turn all of the pain into joy, all the grief into celebration. He knows this. And yet he takes a minute to stop and look around at the people who are grieving, at the people who are sharing their pain. And it says in John 11:35, Jesus began to weep. And I always thought that was really kind of a strange thing. If you know you're about to raise this guy from the dead and make everybody happy, why are you crying? Why are you weeping in that moment? One of the reasons, one of the reasons that I think he does that in that moment is that so those of us who are reading this story thousands of years later can know that the God who created the universe, the God who created Jessi and her 3 beautiful children, became a human and shared in the pain of loss, shared in the kind of grief that people who knew and loved Jessi are feeling today. And that same God is continuing to share the pain of that loss. Because the thing about grief is it tends to isolate us, right? We tend to want to block out the world and process our pain and our hurt by ourselves. And I think that's a perfectly understandable instinct. But when you do that, you open up the possibility that isolation threatens to overwhelm you. The darkness of that pain and that grief can overwhelm you. And that's why we need this kind of reminder that we're not alone in that pain, in that grief. That's why we have funerals and we have wakes and we have celebrations of life, which I'm sure will all be coming for Jessi and her family, because we understand that grief is easier to process amongst other people who are also grieving. So today's Monday message is just that. No matter how heavy your grief may feel, no matter how heavy the grief of the people who loved and were loved by Jessi is, the big reminder is you're not alone. You're never alone in that grief. Because Jesus began to weep and continues to grieve with you and with everybody who's lost someone that they care about. No matter how dark it may get, there is still that light. And no matter how deep that darkness gets, it simply cannot overcome that light. And we who are left behind need to remember the light that was Jessi's life and honor her 3 beautiful children by remembering to share that light with other people, to share our grief, to share our pain with other people, and remind ourselves that the God of the universe shares that pain and that grief along with us. You are not alone. That's the Monday message.
There's a GoFundMe for Jessi's husband. You think, my goodness, this man was out of town on a work trip. And to think of that phone call that you get. And
incomprehensible, right?
Yeah,
there's no way in that moment you can even understand what the heck you're being told.
It's incomprehensible is right. So far, $135,000 has been raised. Hockey, the NHL Players Association, I saw on the list, donated $5,000. Pretty incredible, sort of the reaction all over the place. But it does, and I found myself thinking about that moment with the kids at the Cup and Cone because it's so dang Minnesotan. Friday, White Bear Lake, such an institution. You're there with the kids. And while there's profound sadness in that, right? Where you think, my gosh, you look at these kids, they're so little. I also think in this picture, which you can see if you're watching us on a video stream, that's what life is about. And you have to make your moments count. And it sounds cliche to say make every day, every moment count. And sometimes there's a reason the cliches are the cliches. Because you do never know when it's all over. You don't know. And while that can be disheartening, it also can be freeing in that if you want to dance with your kids and look like a goof, you should do it. And if you want to go get ice cream on a Friday afternoon when it's 45 degrees out, you should probably go do it. I think some of that spirit is, there's no silver lining for these things. It's all bad. But bad things do happen. And we march on. We march on. That's what we do. Thanks, Dan. You're not alone. You're not alone. 4:32, we're going to break. In a minute, some hope for downtowns in an area that I never would have guessed. I want more people downtown. More mainframe computers doesn't really thrill me, but it does seem like that's where the opportunity is right now. We'll talk about data centers in the downtown core. Coming up, we cover it all here on Drive Time with DeRUSH.
This is Drive Time with DeRusha on News Talk 830 WCCO.
Terrene Dermatology is ready to take care of you as the weather turns and the sun is out more. Oh, were you like me? Were you out in the sun enjoying it all this weekend? It is beautiful. It is beautiful out there. Get yourself to Terrene Dermatology. They're the absolute experts when it comes to medical, surgical, cosmetic dermatology. And as we spend more time outdoors, more time in the sun, put that sunscreen on, put the hat on. Oh, you got to protect yourself. You got to protect your skin for sure. But part of that overall protection process is getting a baseline. And for me, the Terrene Dermatology Skin Check, full body skin check was my baseline. My dad has a history of skin cancer. My wife's dad has a history of skin cancer. And so both of us go to Terrene Dermatology. Alyssa goes twice a year just to make sure. I go every year for that full body skin checkup to make sure there's nothing to worry about. 10 locations means you can get in 3 weeks. That is bonkers. 3 weeks. They're waiting for you. They're ready for you in Roseville, in Lakeville. Terrene Dermatology was just down at the Lakeville Chamber of Commerce event this weekend. Get to TerreneDermatology.com, TAREEN, dermatology.com, or call 651-633-6883.
I get my news first thing every morning with Vanita.
Fastest way for me to catch up with what's going on.
I don't have time to read the paper or watch a TV newscast.
The headlines, the forecast, how our local teams did last night.
Love the conversations. I mean, I hardly ever agree with Chad or Jason, but they make me think.
That's why. Since I was a kid, there's been only one station on our radio.
What you need every time you listen. News Talk 830 WCCO.
Who doesn't want to sleep better? March is Better Sleep Month, and the answer to better sleep is found at minileaf.com. Jordana Green here, and Mini-Leaf has your answer to sleeping all night long, going to sleep faster, and waking up feeling more refreshed and rested. At minileaf.com, you'll find the Sleep Night Gummies and the Sleep Night Gummies Plus. The Sleep Night Gummies have been discounted $5 on the website for March. The folks at Mini-Leaf really want you to sleep better. Now, this is one of my favorite products, those Sleep Night Gummies. I give them out to friends or anybody who tells me that they're having trouble sleeping because I know they really work. I use them when I feel like I might have a restless night, but they're also non-addictive, so I don't need them every night. Please try for yourself. You'll thank me. Minileaf.com, Minnesota's home of its best legal products and the home for better sleep. Minileaf.com. Tell them Jordana sent you.
I'm back to doing what I love and more, thanks to the Good Feet store.
Don't suffer through foot pain, sore ankles, tired legs, aching back and hips, or sore knees. Call the Good Feet store. The Good Feet Arch Support System is designed to relieve pain and stress in the body with over 350 styles and sizes. Located in Maple Grove, Burnsville, Woodbury, and Roseville. Call 855-554-3338 or stop in for your complimentary fitting. In as little as 40 minutes, you could be walking out pain-free.
Thanks to the Good Feet store.
Mike Rowe here with a random fact. More than half of the homes that have basements in North America will experience water damage. It's true. Whether it's basement moisture, flooding, or bowing walls, do yourself a favor. Call Groundworks. I spent some time working with these guys. They're the real deal. Their people are trained and certified to waterproof your basement and stabilize your walls. Innovative Basement Authority is now Groundworks. Schedule a free inspection.
Licensed in all states where work is performed. See website for details.
You're invited. Join Union Gospel Mission Twin Cities on Thursday, April 30th for Celebration of Hope. Hear moving stories and inspiration from mission residents and alumni. Learn how the mission continues to address the ever-changing homelessness crisis in the Twin Cities and how you can make a life-changing difference for those in need. Registration closes April 12th, so visit ugmtc.org to purchase tickets today.
Time to find out how it's moving on the roads and what's moving in via the skies. This is traffic and weather together on CCO, starting with a check of the commute.
Crash working South 35W, 66th Street off to the right side. Get ready for some slowdowns as you move out of the Crosstown Commons. Slowdowns place East 94 into St. Paul as you move past Dale Street. Over on the West Metro, you'll find 394 eastbound slowing Penn to 94. Jerry Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
You sit on your deck and you're sick of looking at your crappy siding. Type JTR on your computer for roofing, siding, gutters, windows, and more. JTR Roofing has you covered from the roof on down, serving the Twin Cities Metro. For a free estimate, visit jtrroofinginc.com.
Now, the latest conditions and the outlook for the next few days with your CCO forecast.
Forecast brought to us by JTR Roofing. Here is Chief Meteorologist Chris Schaefer.
Temperatures will be climbing the next couple of days, down to 33 tonight with a mostly cloudy sky. We'll stay mostly cloudy tomorrow with a high of 54. That's almost 10 degrees above average. Wednesday, the warm one. Partly cloudy with a high of 64. Perhaps some rain showers on Thursday. Notably cooler on Friday.
Downtown St. Paul, it's sunny, 47 degrees here on CCO.
This is Drive Time with DeRUSH on News Talk 830 WCCO.
All right, we're all trying to figure out how the future will look for our downtown areas. And the first thing everybody's got to get their arms around is like the future is not going to be the past. Everybody's not coming back to work 5 days a week. Offices are going to be hybrid. It's going to be different. It just is. And so a little bit of creativity needs to come into this to figure out what the future is going to look like. One surprising place where some new ideas appear to be coming from and some new energy is coming from is data centers. Data centers in our downtown areas. And it's not the dream. It's not exactly the dream, but it is the only thing that seems to be popping right now. And so to get some insight on this, John McArthur joins us. He's the Senior Vice President of Minneapolis St. Paul Investment Sales and Capital Markets for Colliers. There's a big-time commercial real estate company. John, it's good to have you with us.
Oh, it's great to be here, Jason.
Look,
appreciate being on your show.
Oh, thank you. I'm glad to have you here. For you in commercial real estate, like data centers, you never thought that was going to like, oh, man, that's what we need in our downtowns. But it does seem to be like a place of hope and maybe some opportunity, right?
Sure, it certainly does. And Minneapolis, as you know, recently has really benefited, I think, from the potential opportunity. But not every building that has large vacancies just automatically can put a data center in their building and, be the silver bullet for downtown. But, buildings that have some existing infrastructure already certainly gives the ability for these landlords to attract data centers because, there's just a large need for data centers right now in the market.
Obviously, we've seen in downtown Minneapolis the collapse of some of the values of the downtown buildings. But we saw really an interesting tale with the Sleep Number headquarters in downtown Minneapolis, the biggest price paid for an office building in the city since before the pandemic, since 2019. And it's all because of, explain what happened there.
Well, end of the day, it was a data center that was the tail wagging the dog. I think the building was built back in the 80s as an operation center for IDS or American Express. And back then, who knows what an operations center was, right? But then it went to a headquarters, and we know Sleep Number was in there, but there was always, I think, a smaller data center, and the previous owners, I think, invested $50 to $70 million to beef up the data center. And then, the AI world increases, and I'm not sure what came first, their knowledge of it, but, they were able to sell the building for, 8 times assessed value, which just doesn't happen with many buildings today, and certainly not recently in downtown Minneapolis. But it was certainly driven by the revenue that a data center could produce in a building like this.
What, you had mentioned at the beginning as we talked with John McArthur from Colliers about data centers in downtown. What does a building need? You mentioned existing infrastructure. Like what kind of stuff are you looking for a data center? And would you like to buy our current building here at WCCO Radio? Could we turn this 100-year-old building into a data center, please?
I'm not sure I want to buy it, but I'll sell it for you. There is a buyer for everything. But, first and foremost, what these buildings need is power, right? And, that is one of the benefits downtown buildings have. A lot of those larger buildings were built with power and sometimes redundant power, which data centers need. So it's really driven by that and the ability to be able to get additional power. And so that's the number one driver. But downtowns and a lot of CBDs across the country have a lot of fiber networks and that lead to other cities. And I think that's a big driver for downtown as well. So really fiber and certainly the power is the biggest things.
Yeah, I think we're seeing these sort of conflicts playing out, especially in rural Minnesota, but also in near-in suburbs. We've had mayors come on and talk about I'm not sure if I want these, and we're worried about the drain on the power grid and all of that. None of those concerns really live in a downtown site, do they?
No, certainly not as much, but you still sometimes have more difficult city councils to get things
What
approved.
are you talking about, John? And our downtowns? I cannot believe
cities.
it.
Right. But I think it's turned, and I think a lot of these developers, many of them, they're some of the most creative people that we have in our marketplace that, get used to doing adaptive reuses and converting these buildings. Chris Sherman, Ned Abdul, who converted the Armory into one of the greatest music venues. And, this
what a redo that building has been, right? Where I remember parking in that thing to go to a Vikings game. I used to park on that floor.
Yeah. If things didn't go like this and things didn't change, we'd all still be living in caves and teepees.
Yeah.
So, we do need to see this evolution, and we're living it right now. Minneapolis is living it. We're going to continue to see probably buildings come down. We're going to see more conversion opportunities. In Manhattan, I just saw a building sell that was vacant, but it was converted to vertical storage. So when you pay $10, $15 a foot for a building, you have a lot of options that you can do, as long as zoning and the marketplace can accept it.
Yeah, vertical storage, you think about warehousing, you think about, there are just a lot of options. To me, as someone who loves the central business district, it's a little disappointing that there are no people really that come with a lot of these projects. But also, I've sort of you have to deal with reality, and reality is the market wants what it wants, and it does not want massive numbers of people to be commuting to a 9-to-5 right now.
Right. But what it does offer is if you could get a data center and even, let's say it takes 10 to 15% of your building, maybe you can put them in the basement, that revenue might be enough to create momentum to be able to feel good about investing in the building and attracting other tenants and things. So, it generally doesn't bring foot traffic downtown, but, for the right landlords, it might be the instigator to invest more in the building.
Does it have to be usually basement because the weight of all the computers and the racks and the cooling systems and everything?
No, I've seen them on multi-floor buildings up on 5th floor, 6th floor. I think some of the equipment has evolved, but Sometimes these buildings have to be adjusted a little bit, but I think they can go anywhere.
Can they? Is it possible? Like, I'm looking across the street at the former Ameriprise building, which was purchased, and some developer has plans to try to figure it out. But is it easy to convert? I guess. Can you just run extra power, extra fiber, or is it best, or is that not always doable?
No, they are so expensive to build. And again, I'm not a data center expert. I'm from the real estate world. But because of the cost, I think you really have to have a head start from a previous use.
That's why they want to build these kind of in Becker and wherever. They want to. It's cheaper to do if you have a big piece of land and can figure it out that way, right?
Correct. And the council isn't quite as experienced, maybe, or is more excited for opportunity.
Makes sense. I don't know. I think we've got to open our minds to some of these new uses, whether it's storage, like you mentioned, that vertical storage, or some light manufacturing. I mean, we have to get creative unless we want to knock all these buildings down, which I don't think, generally speaking, anybody really wants to do that, right?
No, but in many cases, it does help a market when you tear down buildings, because it lowers the current vacancy, right?
That's true. Which building should we knock down, John? I tried to do, besides ours. Our producer, Dan, wants to knock this building down. Knocking our 5-story building down isn't going to do a lot of good, I don't think. What?
No, it doesn't. But, it's funny. I think back in the 90s, when we had all these industrial buildings that were vacant, we were encouraged to convert them to office space.
That's right.
And so for years, we were converting them. You could raise the rent from $8 a foot to $12 a foot. And now just the opposite is happening. Industrial buildings are worth more than office buildings.
Isn't that interesting?
And it's just crazy.
That's how it goes. Appreciate visiting with you. John McCarthy from Collier's. Excellent insight and good stuff for us to think about. Thank you.
All right. Have a great afternoon. Love the show.
Thank you. Appreciate it. John McCarthy. Pretty interesting, right? I don't know. I think it's great. We got to fill some of these buildings. It helps with property values, helps ease some of the burden that you guys are having in your property taxes as well. 4:49, we're going to break in just a minute. Is the homecoming king and queen back? Are we back to king and queen? We'll talk about that in a minute.
You're listening to Drive Time with DeRUSH on News Talk 830 WCCO.
Chris Lindahl wants to help you out if you are looking to sell your house. It's Jason for my friend Chris. Chris Lindahl, Arms Out Real Estate Company. Great guy, innovative, thinking about new ways to make life easier for you. And that is one of the main attractions for the guaranteed cash offer and the big red check. So you have probably seen images of Chris bringing the big red check to people all over Minnesota and western Wisconsin, people who are saying yes to that guaranteed cash offer on their house. And I saw Chris in some of these videos, and so I texted him. I'm like, what's going on? What are you doing? And he said, I am doing 80% more big red checks than I did last year. And I'm like, what is up? He said, look, the guaranteed cash offer has always been a great solution for people who are looking for a quick transaction. He can get you to closing in as little as 2 days. There are lots of life circumstances that make that a smart move. But what's changed is that people just don't want the hassles and the uncertainty of the open market. So get a red check. Get a big red check. You don't want a sleepless night. You don't want to pay agent commission. You just don't want to deal with the headaches, which are out there if you are trying to sell your home. Chris is a local guy. Check out the guaranteed cash offer. You can get a free smart seller guide right at the top of his webpage. Go to chrislindahl.com today.
Staples presents That Was Easy.
I wanted a new color printer to add pizzazz to my prints.
Ooh, pizzazz can be pricey.
Well, now at Staples, you get up to 30% off select HP printers.
30% off an HP?
Yeah, I saved $120 on an HP Smart Tank 6001 with up to 3 years of ink included.
Why, that could be the last printer you'll ever need.
Could be.
Shop your local Staples today for big savings on HP.
That was easy.
Available in-store, online, or on the app. It's 4 exclusions apply.
Breakfast burritos for the morning brainstorm. Easy Cater. Paninis for the lunch and learn. Easy Cater. Barbecue for the clients from Boston. Easy Cater. Brownie boxes and mini bundt cakes for Brenda's workiversary. Easy Cater. One simple platform to feed any size group with food they love from favorite restaurants, plus tools to help you meet dietary needs and stay on budget. Easy Cater. All the food for your workplace, all in one place. Start an order at easycater.com.
Do you believe in love at first sight?
If it's 5:21, I do.
Let me check my watch.
Not the time, silly. I'm talking about Barufka's 521 swivel glider chair. Our guests have fallen in love with its cozy embrace and effortless movement. The 521 creates a calming retreat in any room.
Featuring plush, high-density, high-resiliency seat foam, a solid maple hardwood frame, and a steel spring unit for consistent, long-term support.
With over 500 fabric and leather choices, our design team will help you put it all together.
Constructed in Indiana, the 521 swivel glider chair is Craftsman Direct priced from $1927 or $81 a month for 24 months. So whether it's 6 a.m., noon, or 11 at night, you'll fall in love with 521.
Oh, Jim. Barufka's. No gimmicks, haggling, or hard-to-understand pricing. In Woodbury, Burnsville, and Minnetonka.
Decidedly worth your time.
Chad back here with you. I want to talk about trust and peace of mind. We all need it, in particular in some areas, including your insurance. Maybe it's for your business, or maybe it's more traditional with your house and your car. For me, I have trusted Amber Scholl and Associates with American Family for, what are you guessing, 5 years, 10 years? No, my entire family, whether it's my father or my kids, with American Family, with Amber in particular, for 30 years. We dread something bad happening with our house, with a car accident, but we need people with expertise, with professionalism and availability, and that's what Amber and her team are all about. Reach out to them today. It's worth it. Trust me. 651-738-4811.
Time to find out how it's moving on the roads and what's moving in via the skies. This is traffic and weather together on CCO, starting with a check of the commute.
Crash reported to be on the ramp west 494, the ramp to Cedar Avenue northbound. Use caution if you are headed that way. South 35W near 66th Street, accident off to the right shoulder. Get ready for your slowdowns as you come out of the Crosstown Commons. 35W northbound at Black Dog Road, crash off to the right side. Heaviest stuff's going to be southbound, though, as you come down from about the area of 106th Street to Highway 13. Jerry Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
Jordana Green here. I pray you and your family are always safe. But if there's ever a time where you need an advocate after an accident, let Mike Bryant of Bradshaw & Bryant help you. He will work with and for you in dealing with the insurance company. Call 800-770-7008 today. Bradshaw & Bryant, seeking justice for the injured.
Now, the latest conditions and the outlook for the next few days with your CCO forecast.
Forecast from Bradshaw & Bryant, personal injury attorneys at MinnesotaPersonallyInjury.com. Tonight, mostly cloudy. Low is 33. It's a big change from what we saw on Saturday, isn't it? Tomorrow, 54. Wednesday, 64. Some rain possible on Thursday. Right now, it is 45 on CCA.
Drive time with DeRUSH.
Please call into the Jason DeRUSH show.
Let's go.
If you have something to say to the people of Minnesota, say it on the radio.
On News Talk 830 WCCO.
Continental Diamond time check time is 4:56. If you're in the market for a pre-owned luxury watch, the game has changed at Continental Diamond in St. Louis Park. They've got some of the best watch experts in the state working for them. Lots of new talent over there and lots of new watches. So go stop in or visit them at continentaldiamond.com to check it out. Homecoming King and Queen seems to be back. At least in some parts of Minnesota. Star Tribune wrote about Barnum High School, bringing back homecoming royalty determined by students' biological sex. So for a while, like they changed it in 2019, some parents didn't like when 2 boys were crowned. They're trying to make it. What? Why do we have to remake everything? Why can't the homecoming king and queen contest be a popularity contest? We have to bring this topic back. There's not enough time. I'm more upset about it than I thought I was. I thought I really didn't care that much. And now it's like, oh, we can't have it be a popularity contest. You know who says that? Unpopular people. Get a hold of yourselves. You're not going to be the homecoming queen or king. Get over it.
Hey, Jordana, I'm Brian. I'm 58 and single. I have a house, a bunch of investments. I have a sister I'm close to, but no kids or anything tying me down, so I never really worried about planning for the future. Recently, a friend of mine passed away unexpectedly without a will or a trust, and it created a huge mess for the family he left behind. I don't want to be a burden on my sister. I want to be prepared. So why should I choose Gutman Law?
Hi, Brian. Your instincts are correct. If you were to do nothing, the state would decide who's in charge and how to distribute your assets, which is probably not what you want. And your sister will have a lot to sort out by herself. Now, this is the reason why I chose Gutman Law. My family, Matt and Jamie, were so sensitive to the nuances of my situation after a divorce. An estate plan is more than just names and numbers on a piece of paper. It's family. Making it easy on them is what matters most. From healthcare directives to wills to living trusts, Gutman Law can help you determine what type of planning makes sense to protect you and your loved ones. 612-895-1616 or go to mnestatelaw.com. Gutman Law, giving you peace of mind today for tomorrow.
Are you struggling with hearing loss? Do friends and family complain that your TV is too loud? Are you tired of asking people to repeat themselves? If you want to hear clearly again, but don't want a bulky hearing aid that makes you look old, you need to try Atom X by Audion Hearing. The Atom X is a life-changing breakthrough, precisely designed by top audio engineers, fits comfortably in your ear, is nearly invisible, and lets you adjust your sound so you can hear conversations clearly, at home, at dinner, or on the go. And right now, you can try the Atom X risk-free for 45 days. Call Audion Hearing now at 800-295-HEAR. That's HEAR for a 45-day risk-free home trial with free shipping and money-back guarantee. The Atom X is lightweight, rechargeable, practically invisible, and costs 90% less than prescription hearing aids. Don't miss out. Call 800-295-HEAR for complete details. That's 800-295-4327. Hearing for everyone. Audion Hearing.
At Wealth Enhancement, we believe wealth is in the details. Our team of trusted advisors craft personalized solutions to help you achieve your financial goals. Tune in to the Your Money Show on News Talk 830 WCCO every Sunday from 8 to 9 a.m. or go to wealthenhancement.com to connect with one of our advisors.
More than just news. It's the why behind the headlines. News Talk 830 WCCO.
1029 HD2, Minneapolis, St. Paul.
This is CBS News on the Hour, your home for original reporting.
I'm Jennifer Kuiper. Forcing the closure of LaGuardia Airport runway until Friday is the investigation of the wreckage of an Air Canada plane that collided with the fire truck that was responding to a call involving another plane late last night. 2 pilots have been killed and dozens of people injured. CBS's Tom Hansen has more from LaGuardia.
The 2 black boxes from this plane have been recovered. That's going to tell us a lot of important information about communication within the cockpit, from the pilots to the air traffic controllers, and of course the velocity of that plane, which we believe to be about 100 miles an hour.
ICE officers go to over a dozen airports at President Trump's direction, while long wait times at airports persist due to the partial government shutdown. Orders are Tom Homan.
They have a different mission, but ERO is the vast majority of people at the airports. We got 14 right now, and there will be more.
A suburban Detroit group is trying to do something to ease the financial burden on TSA workers at Detroit Metro Airport, who've gone a month now with no paycheck. WWJ's Pat Vitale reports.
It started with putting together Easter baskets for families stuck in the middle of the stalemate in Washington. Ann Walsh, who founded Downriver for Veterans nearly a decade ago, thought, let's do something more.
They didn't ask for this. They have children. They're hungry. They're going to lose their homes. If we can't do anything but give them food and toiletries, that's a little bit of something.
Walsh says after putting information on social media over the weekend, she started getting calls from people needing help with the basics: food, essentials, diapers. She's hoping others will help.
A California civil jury finds Bill Cosby liable for drugging and sexually assaulting a woman in 1972, awarding Donna Motzinger $19.2 million. Cosby's lawyers called the claim speculation and say they plan to appeal. President Trump pushes back for 5 days his deadline for Iran to fully reopen the Strait of Hormuz or face strikes on Iranian power plants. The president says he was extending the deadline because of constructive conversations with Iran. But as CBS's Chris Livesay in Dubai reports,
Iran has denied it entirely, saying that it has no contact with the Trump administration. And meanwhile, what we do know for sure is that the Strait of Hormuz, which is what sparked this escalation to begin with, remains effectively closed.
The Supreme Court has rejected an appeal by Texas online journalist Priscilla Villarreal, who says she was wrongly arrested. A divided federal appeals court ruling had found Villarreal could not sue police and other officials over her arrest for seeking and obtaining non-public information from police. This is CBS News.
Go to the ends of the earth, half a world away. Reach for the stars.
If I take time to think, they might go get Brad.
On CBS, Sunday morning.
Minnesota's trusted voice, every hour. Let's get you caught up with what's happening now on News Talk 830 WCCO.
Partly cloudy, 45 degrees at 5:03. I'm Laura Oakes. We begin remembering the life of Jessi Pierce, the sports writer and mother, and her 3 children who died in a house fire in White Bear Lake Saturday morning.
Jessi Pierce will not soon be forgotten, leaving a deep and lasting impact on those who knew and loved her, including Judd Zulgad, who shared a story which exemplified the kind of person she was.
The night that, in December, when that Quinn Hughes trade went down on a Friday night out of nowhere, right? We scurried to do an emergency podcast. And
Yeah, sure.
I texted Jess. I said, can you join us? And she's like, yeah, absolutely.
He told WCCO's Chad Hartman that she was having pizza with her 3 kids and husband, Mike, so they threw the pizza in a box and headed out.
Put the 3 kids in the back of the car, gave Mike the keys, told Mike to drive, and the next time I see her on our show, she's on her camera phone. And he's completely quiet. Mike's keeping the kids quiet.
Susie Jones, News Talk 830 WCCO.
The state fire marshal's office will release the official cause of the fire, which is still under investigation. Pierce's husband was out of town at the time. A GoFundMe account has been set up to help him with expenses. New information in a fatal head-on crash in southwestern Minnesota that killed 5 people. The Minnesota State Patrol is reporting that the driver of an SUV did not have a valid driver's license when his vehicle smashed into a transit van carrying members of a family celebrating a birthday, and that the van with 12 passengers on board did not have seatbelts installed. After multiple allegations of sexual abuse, a move in the Minnesota House to fast-track a bill that would repeal the March 31st Cesar Chavez Day in Minnesota. It's being carried by DFL Representative Maria Isa Perez Vega, whose own activist mother was one of the first recipients of the Chavez Award in Minnesota.
I'm not discrediting the work that my mother has done, that our elders have done. It's not his movement. It's the movement of, and particularly of the women and the mothers and the tias. And we're here standing up for them and our grandmothers who couldn't speak up. And we're here to speak up that our daughters don't have to face this.
St. Paul Mayor Cully Herr says they're listening to the community about changing the name of a street named after Chavez. And the founder of a public charter school named after him says they will be changing the name. Leaders with the WNBA calling it one of the most transformational labor agreements ever reached in major professional sports. And now it's been unanimously approved by players. The 7-year collective bargaining agreement provides for a new revenue sharing model and significantly higher salaries. And it's off to Sacramento and the Sweet 16 for the University of Minnesota women's basketball team. Head coach Don Plitzowite on yesterday's last-minute victory over Ole Miss at Williams Arena.
It was an amazing, amazing atmosphere, an epic battle. Hopefully, and I believe it is very fulfilling for the young ladies in our program that have decided to come to Minnesota and put Minnesota back on the map on a national scene, and now have had a chance to do that.
The Gophers will play the winner of tonight's second-round game between UCLA and Oklahoma State on Friday. The last time the Gophers made it to the Sweet 16 was in 2005. WCCO News Time is 5:06.
Time to find out how it's moving on the roads and what's moving in via the skies. This is traffic and weather together on CCO, starting with a check of the commute.
Going to find things running fairly decent out there as you cruise the system. Traveling southbound 35W, that's slow though as you come down from 106th Street toward Highway 13. And still got the crash on the northbound side of 35W near Black Dog Road. Crash off to the right side, so expect slowdown south 35W near 66th Street. Cross down eastbound slows from 35W to Cedar Avenue. Joey Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
You sit on your deck and you're sick of looking at your crappy siding. Type JTR on your computer for roofing, siding, gutters, windows, and more. JTR Roofing has you covered from the roof on down, serving the Twin Cities Metro. For a free estimate, visit jtrroofinginc.com.
Now, the latest conditions and the outlook for the next few days with your CCO forecast.
Brought to you by JTR Roofing. Here's WCCO TV Chief Meteorologist Chris Schaefer.
Clouds will increase as we head into the night tonight, falling back to 33. Tomorrow, a bump warmer, mostly cloudy with a high around 54 degrees. The warmest day of the week still looks to be Wednesday with a high up around 64. We could see some sprinkles of rain on Thursday.
Partly cloudy right now, 45 at News Talk 830 WCCO.
Dependable, sometimes unpredictable, and always relevant and compelling. News Talk 830 WCCO. He knows news. He knows talk. He knows nonsense, too. So get ready for a lot of each. This is Drive Time with DeRUSH. Once again, here's Jason DeRUSH.
1 week ago, we were all talking about the 12 to 18 inches of snow that we got over the weekend. And this weekend, it was 77.
Now shut up and drive.
Unbelievable. It's part of the fun of living here, right? Like, honestly, there are times where I think I cannot take it anymore. I need to go chat on the bit and escape during the winter, but then I would have missed this. What a great stretch. So much fun. Welcome to Drive Time. Hour 3, it's Jason, Dan. We got you covered here. Dave Schwartz will join us at the bottom of the hour as well. Did you go to a patio? Did you go to a patio on the weekend? I was in the North Loop. Alyssa and I went in the North Loop, and there were people everywhere. Everywhere. It was so fun. We went to Gray's Food Hall, and they had this fundraiser for the Salt Cure Restaurant Relief Fund. They're selling bars. So they had 50 different bakers selling bars. Doesn't get more Minnesotan than that. It was sold out. And there were people all over the rooftop. So Alyssa and I said, let's go find a patio. So we went to Free House, where they said it would be a 45-minute wait. And then we went to Smack Shack, where they said it would be a 30-minute wait. And then we got in the car and went to Northeast Minneapolis, found a table at Centro on their patio outside, which was the last 2 seats on the patio. It was great. It was so fun to see everybody out and about and in a good mood. It was fantastic, and Alyssa just texted and said, we're firing up the grill tonight. Because, spring is here. You got to embrace. If you want to see my weekend review, you can always do that on Facebook or Instagram. And some of the pictures are not safe for human consumption, I just want to say. Is it unseemly, Dan Cook, for an AM radio host to post a bit of a thirst trap? A bit like a minor, like a PG thirst trap.
Is there such a thing as a PG thirst trap? Aren't thirst traps by definition at least PG-13?
I mean,
At least I hope they are.
If you're seeing like a little bit of bare chest, isn't that that's a little more than Are
there any chains involved?
No, Alyssa won't let me get the chains. I want like a nice, like a tasteful kind of Justin Jefferson style, like diamond.
You want some ice?
Chain.
That's what you
just a tasteful.
Okay.
You can see those pictures on
Alyssa's
Facebook.
a very smart woman, by the way.
And if you need ideas for things to do on your weekend, go to my website, jasonderusha.com, and a pop-up, be patient, wait 5 seconds, and a pop-up will show up for you to sign up for my Substack. So you can, every week I publish all sorts of ideas of things you can do for fun. What I want to do for fun right now is update you on all of the news stories that we're keeping an eye on. We call it the DeRUSH Hour News Headlines.
The headlines you might have missed without missing a beat. This is your fast pass through the biggest and most impactful stories of the day. Welcome to the DeRUSH Hour Headlines, starting with the lead.
And we continue talking about a sports journalist, Jessi Pierce. You heard about Jessi in the latest news update from Laura. The hockey world has been honoring and remembering her. Questions still about this house fire, this overnight, early morning house fire Saturday in White Bear Lake that killed Jessi and her 3 children. Absolute heartbreaking, gutting story. 8-year-old Hudson, 6-year-old Caden, 4-year-old Avery, all dead. Her husband, Mike, was not in the home. He had posted on social media that he was out of town on a work trip. Just an absolute travesty, no matter who the victim would be. But in a time where certain people live their lives relatively publicly, it has been very touching to see people respond to the impact that Jessi Pierce had. Part of what made her different and had members of the Minnesota Wild sharing their own memory, their own tribute, Billy Guerin, the general manager, talking about her as well. And what a gesture of kindness out of Billy Guerin, telling reporters in a news conference after the Wild played yesterday that he was there for them, knowing how painful it was, because Jessi was in the press box, every day, every game, at skate around, at practice, all of that stuff. And so the Wild has been tremendous. And the picture that got me the most, there was a picture that Jessi posted of her 3 kids going for ice cream, but a picture that the Minnesota Wild posted of flowers in memorial at her seat in the press box. Jessi Pierce will be remembered and honored, and we await more information as to what happened there, because that's important too. Is there a lesson we can learn about fire prevention? Early indication was that there were working smoke alarms in the home. What happened here? We will wait, as Laura said, and hear that from the state fire marshal. Next, we are keeping an eye on home insurance rates. A story in the Minnesota Star-Tribune about home insurance rates continuing to rise in Minnesota. And the reason is extreme weather. It is one of these stories that I think a lot of us in Minnesota, you think, man, home insurance has to be worse on the coast, right? But the state could rank number 9 for most expensive premiums by the end of the year. And the damage is flooding and hail. Thunderstorms, hail, other extreme weather events. According to a new report released by Insurify, the average price for home insurance in our state is expected to rise 4%. And do you know what the average cost for home insurance in this state is? This number sort of blew me away. $3,654. The national average will grow for the 5th consecutive year, but the Midwest and the Great Plains seeing some of the steepest increases because of these severe convective storms, is what they wrote in the report. Those severe convective storms. So Minnesota, Colorado, Iowa, Illinois, Oklahoma, Louisiana, Michigan have seen home insurance costs jump more than 35%. Ours rose the fastest, jumping 64% in that period. Now, yes, Florida is the most expensive state for home insurance, hurricanes. One hurricane does hundreds of billions of dollars of damage. Here what happens is you get one hailstorm that travels all over the place, and you get claims left and right and left and right. What to do about it? Will we start to see homes built with fortified roofs, for example? Different ways that you might keep the damage down. In St. Paul, the University of St. Thomas wants to expand its property. And for the first time in history, all of the people who live around the University of St. Thomas are not yelling and screaming about it. How about that? St. Thomas wants to add more parking, which is something that neighbors have wanted. Students want more retail spots. If you've ever walked around St. Thomas, you got that, I don't know, Devani's. You got the Devani's there on Grand Avenue. That's about it. The university already owns a bunch of buildings that sort of look like, I don't know, they look like single-family homes. 6 homes along Summit Avenue. There are actually 11 of them that are sort of aging, and they'd like to turn them into academic buildings. But some of this area, they'd like to put taller parking, a retail spot. And so a lot of this is going before the St. Paul City Council this week. So good stuff. I don't know, makes sense to me. If you're a student, almost every campus has like a little retail shopping area, and St. Thomas does not. We'll break. In Depth is coming your way in just a couple of minutes. We are going to talk about, well, a story. We're going to talk about meat raffles. Do you want to win more meat? Sort of a story that shocked me about state law and the way it's keeping meat raffles from being a little more meaty. We'll talk about that next.
You're listening to Drive Time with DeRUSH. Video streaming live on YouTube and always on your radio at News Talk 830 WCCO.
So when I talk about J.H. and Sons, I like to talk about the everyday stuff, the date night, the going out to restaurant, the just I want to look good and because I care about myself stuff. It's Jason for my friends at J.H. and Sons at the Galleria in Edina. I'm wearing the pants and the shirt I'm wearing today from J.H. and Sons, so they've got that for you. But I want to spend a little bit of time talking about special occasions because J.H. and Sons is the wedding headquarters of the Upper Midwest. You should look your best. Why not? Why not? And more grooms are going to J.H. and Sons. And more people who are being invited to weddings are going to J.H. and Sons. The J.H. and Sons advantage is all about the people. It's Kevin, it's Chuck, it's Dean, it's Bryce. It's everybody who works there who has tons of experience selling men's clothing, and they're going to have an on-site tailor. So when you visit, you don't have to come back to see the tailor. You don't have a sales guy just measuring you up. You have an expert tailor who's going to make that suit fit you like a glove. And if you're going to a wedding this summer, I do not want you reaching in the back of your closet, pulling out a 10-year-old, out-of-style, ill-fitting, disgusting suit. Step it up. You deserve it. You deserve to look and feel your best. And J.H. and Sons can get you there. Visit them at the Galleria. Sign up for their email list, too. You'll be the first to know about special events and sales, and do it at jhandsons.com.
How can you free your team from time-consuming office tasks? Amazon Business. Smart business buying tools enables buyers to find and purchase items fast so they can focus on strategy and growth. Free up your teams and focus on your future. Learn more at amazonbusiness.com.
Get into your local running store Tuesday and Wednesday, March 24th and 25th, where everything is on sale. Well, almost everything. Save 12% on almost everything in the store. This includes most regular priced items, plus 25% on regular price clothing and footwear. Also shop sporting goods, houseware, snacks, hardware, fishing, hunting, and much more. Bring the family to your local Runnings March 24th and 25th, where almost everything in the store is on sale. Go to Runnings.com for more information and to find a store near you. Runnings, now with 90 locations, your local home, farm, and outdoor store.
Larry Older here. Let me share Brian's story from Alabama, my mom's home state. He tells us after taking Relief Factor for just 3 weeks, at least 90% of my pain is gone. My pain has started to limit me at work and at home, and now I'm amazed at how much relief I've gotten, end of quote. These are Brian's own words, and they speak volumes about what Relief Factor can do for you. I've told you about my buddy Tom, an avid golfer out on the green almost every single day. He says without Relief Factor, he wouldn't be able to swing freely because of shoulder pain or back pain. But since taking it, he said he stayed active, comfortable, and confident in his swing. He is a scratch golfer. That's why I encourage you to try Relief Factor yourself and see what it can do for you. Don't wait. If you're dealing with daily pain, launch your 3-week quick start and see what Relief Factor can do for you. 800-4RELIEF, 800 the number 4RELIEF, or go to relieffactor.com. That's relieffactor.com. How will it feel to be out of pain? 800-4RELIEF, relieffactor.com.
Your daily detour into sharper conversation. Drive Time with DeRusha on News Talk 830 WCCO.
My very first date with my wife featured a meat raffle. So I have a special place in my heart for the meat raffle. DeRUSH Hour News headlines going in depth on the outdated part of the meat raffle. I'm not talking about the charmingness of it, the hopefully church basement-ish of it. Certainly not the charitable aspect of it. But there are state laws that are impacting the way you enjoy a meat raffle, the amount of money that charities make off of a meat raffle. And Amanda Jackson is the president of Allied Charities of Minnesota and gambling. She's the gambling manager for the Spring Lake Park Lions Club, and she's with us on the John Schuster Coldwell Banker Hotline. Amanda, thanks for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
I mean, who doesn't? Look, if you don't like a meat raffle, you can just get right out of this state as far as I'm concerned.
That's right. Meat raffles are just like a Minnesota hot dish. It's a staple in Minnesota.
It's exactly right. It's exactly right. So tell me about the laws that we have in Minnesota right now that are that are maybe impacting the amount of money that could be raised and also impacting the amount of fun that we can have when we go to a meat raffle.
Yeah, so the hardest part lately has been the cost of meat. So your average meat raffle, you go in there, for people who aren't familiar, there's 30 tickets that are sold, usually at $1, and they get played out round after round, and one winner's chosen out of the 30, and a pack of meat is won. And back, in the day, you could get a pretty significant pack of meat to bring home. But as meat raffle or meat prizes, the cost of meat raises.
Oh, yeah. Anybody who's been to the grocery store, you're like, oh, boy, like getting a steak is not cheap.
15 years ago, you'd get a nice big pack of, 6 or 8 pounds of hamburger that you could bring home. And over the years, the packages are just shrinking and shrinking and shrinking. So we're looking to expand the cost of the raffle a tad so that we can bring out those big old-fashioned meat packs that we used to be accustomed to back when meat raffles started in the late 1980s.
This is Amanda Jackson, and the state actually sort of regulates whether you're like how much you're allowed to charge, right?
Correct. So right now you can have a $1 meat raffle or a $2 meat raffle, but we're looking to expand up to a $5 raffle. So you could have $3, $4, or $5 raffles, and the limits on the prizes we can give away would expand as well up to $200.
So what is the limit right now? So the top prize that you could give away is $70.
Yes, if you were going to charge $2 for a ticket. So.
Yeah. So if you're doing
it's been getting harder and harder to get meat raffle packs, with the cost of meat.
Sure.
So we're hoping that with this new bill that's being introduced tomorrow, that we would be able to expand all of the prizes and cost of the meat raffle so that we can get back to the way we're calling it, bringing meat raffles back to their best.
Oh, I like that. I like that.
Yeah.
Because really, you're not. I mean, the truth is, if you look at the inflation and meat price costs, what you're doing, I don't even know if you quite fully get to cover that, considering the last time this limit was put into place or was changed is more than 30 years, right?
That is exactly right. It has not been changed in over 30 years. And, there isn't a lot of meat on the bone, we should say, for charities
Just
to
stop
make.
it. Stop it, Amanda.
But it brings it brings people together in the community. They play a couple rounds of meat raffle. They patronize the bar restaurant. They also buy some pull tabs, which helps our cause. They have a little good time, and with any luck, they go home with a nice pack of meat that they can show off and grill up for dinner. So it's really, kind of a great way for people to come together, generate some excitement, helps the bar, helps the charities, and also it helps our local meat markets because we're buying those meat packs from local grocery stores and meat markets in our communities as well. So it's all just a big win-win-win, and it's, like you said, a staple in Minnesota and brings people together, and there isn't a whole lot of revenue to be made, but we want to keep that tradition going here in Minnesota, and we're hoping this new bill gets some support and we can look forward to keeping those meat raffles around.
It's Amanda Jackson. She runs the gambling at Spring Lake Park Lions Club. You guys have a meat raffle there, right?
We do, and actually every January 1st, we host a 200-pack meat raffle.
Whoa!
Yeah. So we like to coin ourselves as one of the largest meat raffles that we have every year. And that meat raffle on January 1st, there's not a parking lot or a seat to be had.
Right?
That is just one huge event we have in our community that everybody loves.
Oh, I love it. I love it. And we want these traditions to be around for generations to come, right? And so part of making sure that we have that is having these laws a little more modernized. My question is, are you running into any opposition on this, or where are legislators at on this thing?
Well, I guess we'll find out tomorrow. We're going to be testifying in front of the Senate Commerce Committee, and I'm hopeful that everybody will be on board because, like you said, who doesn't love a good old-fashioned meat raffle?
I feel like the negative ad writes itself, right? If people don't support this. You're like, I would love to run against that person. Like, that feels like a very easy campaign right there.
I agree. And I mean, hopefully most everybody, that hears about the bill has been to a good old fashioned Minnesota meat raffle.
Yeah. Do you think you can get elected to the state legislature without showing up to a meat raffle at least once?
Well, I would hope not.
Yeah, same. Right.
Yeah.
We still have to have some standards. I guess if you were new to the state, but come on. Let's be serious. Well, this makes nothing but sense. I mean, especially as you look. Well, let me ask you this: a texter is saying, could you guys just sell more tickets per pack?
Yeah. So it is set up for it to be a 30 ticket limit. So really, our hands are tied. And over the years, I mean, I would say probably since 2020, it's been a real struggle to even get two of any kind of steaks in one pack of meat. I mean, we've changed actually meat providers a couple of different times just because it's hard to get two packages of meat delivered for $22. So it's really a need. And back in the day, you could really bring home some good looking meat, and we want to get back to that.
Just upping the prizes a little bit, upping the excitement. I love it. Appreciate it. Amanda Jackson, good luck tomorrow testifying, and keep us up to date on this. We're unabashedly pro meat raffle on this show.
I love it. Thank you for having me, and just want you to know I'm one of your biggest TikTok fans.
Oh, goodness. Amanda,
yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
There you go.
Yep. Have a great day. Thank you.
I did not post the thirst trap on TikTok, but maybe for Amanda, I can post a special little picture just for you guys on TikTok. You guys didn't know? This DeRUSH show, we're on all the platforms. Let's break. Fellow meat raffle aficionado Dave Schwartz will join us in a minute. Lots to talk about with the Gopher women. advancing in dramatic fashion to the Sweet 16. We'll talk to Dave about that next.
This is Drive Time with DeRUSH on News Talk 830 WCCO.
Time now for today's Spotlight on Tech, sponsored by Ethos.
NVIDIA and Texas Instruments are partnering on new technologies to assist in the development of humanoid robots. Texas Instruments has real-time control, sensing, and power portfolio tools. NVIDIA added that the safe operation of humanoid robots requires a massive leap in processing power to synchronize complex AI models with real-time sensor data and motor controls. I'm Jason Brooks.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Twin City Framers is the industry leader building the largest wood frame projects in town, and they have immediate openings for carpenters. Here's the deal. Large multifamily carpentry pays an average of $5 an hour more than single-family homes. This is your opportunity to work for the best of the business and make more money today. If you're a carpenter or know someone looking for better pay, better hours, great benefits, and on-the-job training, then look no further. Go online to twincityframers.com and apply for an immediate position today. That's twincityframers.com.
I'm back to doing what I love and more, thanks to the Good Feet store.
When you're in pain, you need the Good Feet store. Don't waste another minute suffering from foot pain, sore ankles, tired legs, aching back and hips, or sore knees. Call the Good Feet store. You might feel the difference immediately.
I walked right into the Good Feet store and I tried the Good Feet Arch Support System, and my hip pain is gone.
The Good Feet Arch Support System is designed to put your foot in the most ideal position, redistributing the body weight more evenly, helping to relieve pain and stress in the body.
That nagging pain in my lower back, gone.
The Good Feet store has over 350
Hello,
styles
sir. How are
and
you?
sizes to relieve your pain.
I've always had bad knees. I've had 6 surgeries
good.
and I could never do a knee bend. Now
Oh, thank
I'm
you.
working
I have
out
the
and it's
mic,
just wonderful.
right
Located
close
in
to my
Maple
mouth
Grove,
today.
Burnsville, Woodbury, and Roseville.
That never
Call
hurts.
855-554-3338
covers
or
my
stop
face.
in for your complimentary fitting. In as little as 40 minutes, you could be walking
Your
out
words, not ours.
pain-free.
Thanks to the Good Feet store.
I was ordering food from our usual place for the big meeting. My VP said, "Please, God, no."
For workplaces suffering with corporate catering
Jason wants to know
deficiency,
if you think you should
every
do the show
day is
like
a
that.
struggle.
The food was always meh and over budget.
If I should
Before
do the-
Easy Cater, I
Yeah, that
thought
looks
was
great.
normal.
Easy
Doesn't it,
Cater is designed to treat CCD with a huge variety of restaurants, help meet dietary needs, and stay on budget. Use daily. One platform lets you
Jason,
save time
I have to
and
shoot you a
thrive.
text. I have a
Ask
question
your web
for you
browser
about
about
the
Easy
lawn
Cater or
place
start an
that you-
order at easycater.com.
I'm interested.
I'm Boomer
in
Esiason. My mom died
possibly,
from cancer. She was only 37
partaking in
years
their
old.
services.
She didn't
I'm
have
tired
life
of my lawn
insurance,
looking
and
terrible.
that was devastating for my family. That's why having life insurance is so important to me. Ethos makes it fast and easy. Get a quote
Yeah,
in
them.
seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. You can get up to $3 million in coverage with no medical exam.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/protect. That's ethos.com/protect. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online help.
Time to find out how it's moving on the roads and what's moving in via the skies. This is traffic and weather together on CCO, starting with a check of the commute.
Eastbound 394 near Penn Avenue, crash into the right lane. Looks like they're being cleared off of the highway right now. In the meantime, get ready for your slowdowns past Worth Parkway. Traveling 35 east southbound, some slowing through St. Paul as you head to Grand Avenue. 494 eastbound congested as move between Portland Avenue, heading over to Cedar Avenue. Jerry Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
Now, the latest conditions and the outlook for the next few days with your CCO forecast.
Forecast brought to you by the Minneapolis Club. Good people at the Minneapolis Club. Dave and I are due for another Minneapolis Club lunch, to be honest with you. I gotta get on that. I'll text you. You have something to text me. I have something to text you. And anybody can come to Minneapolis Club. It's open for folks. If they want to make a reservation, come to dinner, whatever. Here comes Chris Schaefer.
Temperatures will be climbing the next couple of days, down to 33 tonight with a mostly cloudy sky. We'll stay mostly cloudy tomorrow with a high of 54. That's almost 10 degrees above average. Wednesday, the warm one. Partly cloudy with a high of 64, perhaps some rain showers on Thursday, notably cooler on Friday.
Right now, it is pretty warm for this time of year. Still 46 degrees on CCO.
Jason DeRUSH.
I mean, the truth is, I am a terrible influence on Minnesota, on America, and perhaps the world.
Well, I've known that for years, but other people are just finding out.
On News Talk 830 WCCO. Now let's get a Monday rundown on the weekend in sports, where Dave brings the analysis and Jason brings the snacks.
Get your popcorn ready.
Time for some fun talking ball and other stuff with Dave Schwartz on Drive Time with DeRUSH.
All right, Dave Schwartz is with us live via video link up if you want to check us out on YouTube or X or Facebook. Dave, happy Monday.
Happy Monday. You and I with our microphones right in front of our faces.
That's what Dave sounded extra good today, and Dan said, "Oh, you sound fantastic." And Dave pointed out that the mic right in front of his face also conceals his face. So it's a win-win.
I think that's why Dan liked it so much.
Can't rule it out. Cannot rule it out. Before we get to the usual nonsense, I do want to talk about Jessi Pierce, the Minnesota Wild, NHL.com reporter, but also podcast host, just all-around great human being who died along with her 3 kids in that horrible fire this weekend. You know, you work for the Wild. I know you know Jessi. I thought the team did such a nice job, but it is rare to have, I mean, everything about this is rare, right? To have someone die so young and so tragically with her daughters or with her sons. But the way the Wild, I think, has responded gives an interesting glimpse into the fact that you end up spending a lot of time with the beat reporters that cover your team, you know?
And it's not an easy gig as a beat reporter. I'll say that. I mean, you have to straddle the line of telling the truth, but also making sure that you're keeping the subjects that you're covering happy. But Jessi, I read a quote somewhere from somebody, and I don't remember who, so I apologize if I'm not giving the right credit. But they said, imagine you're living your life in such a way that nobody has anything bad to say about you once you pass. And I thought that was really well said about Jessi. And I've known Jessi for a very long time. When I was on television, she would come be a guest to talk hockey. When I was on these airwaves on a weekly basis, she would talk with us regularly about Wild hockey. And it's because she was so knowledgeable and she was so outgoing and funny but she did it her way. You know, Jessi wasn't like every other beat reporter, you know, that just kind of puts her head down and goes. She saw the human element and the human side to everybody. And she was just a really nice individual. I'll share one quick story. And it was about a month or 2 ago. I had a young professional come up to me, a female, and she said she wanted to break into the journalism business, but she didn't have a degree. She didn't go to a big fancy college, but she really, really had a passion for this and wanted to do this. And I said, oh, I know immediately who you should talk to. You should talk to Jessi Pierce, because Jessi Pierce, I know, is not only a good person, but she is someone who has really made her own way. You know, she worked for everything she had. And it took one very quick email to Jessi to say, hey, I have this young lady who's interested in talking to you, and I think you'd be a great influence on her and a great example. And immediately they started striking up a friendship and chatting, and that's just the kind of person that she was. And to see someone or anyone's life end that way with 3 children is when I heard about it, it just stopped me in my tracks. Literally, I was with my son on a walk, and it stopped us in my tracks. And that's really, I don't know many things there's not many moments in your life where all of a sudden you remember exactly where you were when you heard that news. And I'll always remember when I heard about that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's, it's a testament to the kind of person she was. And we had her on the show once. I hung out with her. We both did Livia. We both did the weight loss thing. And so we were at an event together, and she and I had DM'd about it before. some people just have like a light and a magic to them.
Yep. And to do,
she did.
And then and not only to have that, but for that to happen and to make an impact on players. And I mean, you heard Billy Guerin had a nice statement. I got messages from our players saying, what can we do to help? Players past and present have donated to the GoFundMe because in a world of deadlines and just getting the soundbite and just getting the information, there are a few people out there that stop to really try to be human and treat athletes and coaches and general managers like they are just human beings. And I think Jessi did that better than a lot of people did. And that's why she made such an impact on people.
Appreciate you kind of sharing some of that, Dave. I know all of your friends and my friends who work in hockey, a lot of people, obviously you think about that seat in the press box that'll be empty. You think about, and this would be true for any reporter, but when it's someone so young, you're like, oh, and such a big personality. But she was big personality, but also knew her stuff. It's why we had her on the show. Other people had her on their shows. It was not just a personality hire. This was somebody who worked hard, loved the sport, and had strong opinions, and that's honestly, it's sort of rare. But
and
like
good
her,
opinions. They weren't just hot takes. Everyone's got a hot take. This she didn't say things just for reaction. She knew what she was talking about. She knew her stuff. She knew the game really, really well, and that's where you earn the respect. It's not just coming in and being nice. She knew what she was talking about. She knew the game. She respected the individuals who were a part of it. And it's just, I don't have words. It's just tragic. No. It's just a terrible way for her life to end. And with her 3 small children, my thoughts and my prayers are are for her husband and her family. And I can't imagine the grief that they're feeling.
Dave, why don't we break early and we'll come back and talk about the Gophers women basketball team making it to the Sweet 16 on a weekend that was heavy for a lot of us. There was that joy that sports provides. It is part of why it's what we love about it. It's what we love about the tournament, the NCAA men's tournament, and we got a flash of it here with the women's right here in Minneapolis. More with Dave Schwartz in just a minute here on Drive Time.
This is Drive Time with DeRUSH on News Talk 830 WCCO. You drop a pin for your favorite coffee shop. You pin the ball field for your kid's next game. You pin the address for your upcoming sales call. So when it comes to staying informed, why not pin that too? On the road to insight and understanding, navigate to the place Minnesota turns to for reliable news and substantive talk. When you need direction,
you have arrived at your destination.
News Talk 830 WCCO.
DQ presents the Spicy Menu. For a limited time, try the new Flamethrower Chicken Strip Basket for $6.99 with spicy, bold strips that heat you up. Served with a side of famous DQ soft serve as a dip to cool you down. That's right, dip those spicy chicken strips right into soft serve. Plus fries and toast, all for just $6.99. And add a new pineapple lemonade sparkler or cooler made with tahini. It's the limited time only Spicy Menu. Get it delivered in the DQ app. Happy, tastes good. Participation may vary.
How can you free your team from time-consuming office tasks? Amazon Business. Smart business buying tools enable buyers to find and purchase items fast so they can focus on strategy and growth. Free up your teams and focus on your future. Learn more at AmazonBusiness.com.
Even if you've given up on your New Year's resolutions, one health habit that's easy to keep is Active Liver from New Nordic. Active Liver protects your liver so you can enjoy life to the fullest. Online at Amazon, in stores at CVS, Walgreens, and now GNC.
The one real estate agent that really gets results, John Schuster of the John Schuster Group, Coldwell Banker Realty. Paul joins us now. What was your experience like working with the Schuster Group?
We had heard a number of their radio spots on WCCO, and we also attended John and Paul Douglas's home selling seminar Tim and Abby came out and met with us.
How were they?
I have one word, and that's exceptional. They went above and beyond our expectations. We put our house on the market on a Thursday morning, and within 48 hours, we had 7 offers. We were able to fortunately sell our house for over $50,000 over ask. John and his team deliver exactly what they say they're going to deliver. You know, I truly think these are people that have your best interest in mind. If we had to do this all over again, there's only one phone call I would make, and that'd be to Tim and Abby Lehman.
952-222-9000 online, johnschustergroup.com.
Spreadsheets, clunky software, 100 different logins just to run your business? Ah.
There's a better way. Odoo. One simple, connected platform that handles sales, inventory, accounting, and more, so you can focus on growing, not juggling. Make the switch today at odoo.com. That's ODOO.com.
It is not hard to destroy a college.
Last season, the podcast Campus Files brought you stories of fraternity drug rings, stolen body parts, campus cults, and more.
And now, Campus Files is back for another season.
There's a guy screaming into his phone. He's like, I just saw Charlie Kirk get assassinated right in front of me.
Every week is a new episode and a new story.
It was so chaotic.
It's almost like a university under siege.
Listen to and follow Campus Files, available now wherever you get your podcasts.
Time to find out how it's moving on the roads and what's moving in via the skies. This is traffic and weather together on CCO, starting with a check of the commute.
Got a crash now being reported for southbound 35W as you move across the Minnesota River Bridge. It's already tight through there as you head down to Highway 13. Heading out to St. Paul, North 35E, looking good, 94 to 694. 94 westbound, no problems to report there as you move between Hemlock Lane and Highway 101. And it looks like we had a crash now for Highway 10 westbound as you make way toward Egret. Look for the left lane to be affected. Trey Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
Hungry? Go to Dickey's Barbecue Pit of Egan for real Texas barbecue. All meats smoked fresh in-house daily. You can dine in, take out, have it delivered, or have your event catered anywhere in the metro. Just go to Dickeys.com. Dickey's Barbecue Pit of Egan, the Twin Cities catering leader.
Now, the latest conditions and the outlook for the next few days with your CCO forecast.
Forecast brought to you by Dickey's Barbecue Pit of Egan. Tonight, mostly cloudy. The low is 33. Tomorrow, 54. Wednesday, 64. Average high is 45. That's the current temperature in Brooklyn Park here on CCO.
Where curiosity hits the gas. Drive time with DeRUSH on News Talk 830 WCCO.
I'm sorry, Miss Jackson. Ooh, I am for real.
Dave Schwartz is with us, talking sports, talking about the Gopher women basketball team. Mm-hmm. Dave, I had to get the team at the bar I was at to change the channel to ESPN. Like, we're watching darts? Like, could we please watch this game? I don't know that everybody was on board or knowing what was going on yet.
Well, we're not used to this. Like, we're not used to March Madness happening in our backyard. And it's right there, Williams Arena. A great game. And
sellout crowd.
Yeah. What an ending. I mean, it's just.
The ending was unbelievable.
The ending was unbelievable. Amaya Battle had played well the whole game. It's just such a great story. And these are the stories that if you really want to point to where Dawn Plitzuite is winning the games, obviously, but the fact that she convinced and Amaya Battle stayed and now has been the kind of leader and cornerstone of this program and now got them to the Sweet 16. This is when programs turn around. You know, this is when you see those mid-tier, I think where a lot of people would refer to Minnesota as a mid-tier, start to make that jump to the upper echelon because you win these big games and you have players who other players want to play with, and you have that coaches that players want to play with. And so, I mean, I don't want to make it too big, but this is the kind of shot that has repercussions in a good way for a very long time.
Lindsay Whalen. I have to say, like, looking at Lindsay Whalen, Pam Borton, just celebrating the success of this team. Lindsay posts, days like these are why you stay home.
Yeah.
Which I thought was really interesting because you can't, now look, the home cooking, home guest, or home team player. It's not always the best move, but it could be a great move. I mean, you can't if you're a Maya Battle and you hit that shot for Ohio State, like, is that as cool as doing it in the place where you were watching Lindsay and you were watching Janelle McCarville, and it just like amazing.
And give Lindsay
although
Whalen
were they
credit.
around then? It's 2026. Like that
Maybe
was
not.
2005.
But Lindsay Whalen is the one that recruited her, and
That's right.
then she chose. She said, "I'll stay and I'll play for Dunn-Plitzowite." But it does take a special kind of player to be able to handle that pressure in any sport. We've heard about it time and again. Whether you talk to, a hockey player who stays home, Adam Thielen, any of these, there's an extra pressure when you're playing at home where you grew up, where all of your friends and family are watching you all the time, your every move. You can't hide anywhere. If you're playing in Boston and you're from Minnesota, it's like, okay, that they're not playing well, whatever. But if you're from Minnesota, you're still an interview every time someone comes in the locker room because you're Minnesotan, and you have to be able to handle that pressure and still be able to perform in that way. And Amaya Battle, obviously, they saw something in her, and she's been able to do it time and again.
What a shot. I mean, the Gophers were in serious trouble after a really terrible third quarter. But what a comeback. An 11-4 game-winning run for the Gophers over the final 4 minutes and 22 seconds. Just that's some guts, too.
I mean, it just tells you the mental toughness of this team under Don Plitzowite. And I mean, everyone thinks that they can always do it. Everyone's like, "Oh, well, we'll come back." But it is a rarity. But for some reason, this time of year, it just always happens. And we saw it on the men's side and now on the women's side too, that we just keep seeing these great underdog winners and 0.8 seconds left. And I saw a quote from one of the players after the game, like, "Yeah, we knew she could do that. She does it all the time. I knew as soon as she put her 2 dribbles down and then jumped up for the shot that it was going to go." And it's just so cool to see if you've watched the low angle, watch Williams Arena completely erupt after this shot.
It's so good.
It's awesome. And so here's a local girl playing for her local team in her own arena and being able to make that shot. It's just, it's what we love. This is what we love about March Madness.
The men's tournament, really the NIL era, I think has... I'm not going to say it's wiped out upsets because there were plenty of upsets, plenty of top-seeded teams that were upset. But if you're running a bracket and you just pick all the top-seeded teams, the top-seeded teams are pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, except Florida. I mean, I don't know how many people would have thought outside of being an Iowa or Iowa State fan, which you would have thought they were going to make it on, but. Again, like this is March Madness. It's what you live for when you play, when it's a 1-game series like that. Like every other sport, it's 3 games or 5 games or 7 games where you can afford to have one down game and still be in it. Yeah. This is like any other. You have 1 game to prove that you're better or to show that you're worth it, and that's what makes college hoops so good.
Yeah, all the number ones are still around, right? I think so.
I think Florida's out, right?
Was Florida number 1?
They got upset by Iowa, right?
Oh, you're right. Florida was the number 1. I'm sorry. But Arizona, Michigan, Duke still in.
Yeah. I didn't even do a bracket this year. How about that? First time ever.
Oh, Dan is with you. Yeah. Why didn't you do it?
I forgot. It was honestly, it was just a busy week. And
that's reasonable.
I did
it. I wasn't going to do it, and then I did it. But I did it because of workplace peer pressure.
Yes, it's real.
Like,
see,
I didn't want to be
a hockey company. You don't get that as much.
Yeah, I guess they don't care.
No, you don't get it as much.
Dave Schwartz is with us. It is opening week for baseball. Sort of hard to believe how quickly that gets going. The Twins have their opening day on Thursday. It'll be right here on the Big 830, so I won't have a show on Thursday.
Oh.
I know.
Well, I'm sorry.
You know what? For the Twins, I'll do it. For anybody else. Hell no.
Do you have to take a day off of work, or is that still...
Well...
Do you still get paid for Thursday, I guess?
I mean, do you want the true story about this?
Yeah, I'd like
the true story is I put in for a day off, not knowing that the Twins were going to be playing.
Yeah.
because I wanted to go to the board meeting for Second Harvest Heartland that I'm on. And so I put in for that time off, and now I don't need it. But is it sort of fraudulent to pull the time back? You know what I mean? Like
No,
it's a little bit of a conundrum.
Take the day off. You've earned it.
It's for the hungry people. I mean, I'm not going to the bar.
I mean, maybe after, but
it's
not right
anybody's
during
business.
the meeting. Yeah.
The Twins really have to not suck in the first month, right? Otherwise, because I've never seen like the fan base as sort of skeptical as they are. Understandably, why?
Which is something when you have a skeptical fan base like the Twins. I mean, listen, it's hard. You know, you lost your your ace on the first day of spring training. It's kind of hard to come back from that. I mean, all you can hope is that maybe you find lightning in a bottle somewhere around here with somebody else, or maybe the rest of the division kind of falls apart, but it doesn't.
That can happen.
It can happen. Anything can happen. Anything can happen. That's
Yes,
why
that's what I like.
I wouldn't be too upset just yet, but be on the cusp.
You know, our home opener is 1 week from Thursday. I don't know. It'll be fine. It's all going to be fine.
A day at the ballpark, I don't care where the Twins are, is better than shoveling snow.
I like that.
Right?
I'll
take that.
The Wolves look great right now, by the way, too.
They do. Boy, they look good the other day. I mean, wow,
beating Boston
game.
For the first time since 2005.
Yeah.
In the Garden. That's crazy.
Well, it's finally turning the corner. It's not too late.
Yep, never is.
We're hitting the
corner's
stretch.
always right there.
It's right there.
Dave, thank you. Continental
buddy.
Diamond would like to thank you as well. Their time check is 5:58 on the button right now, which you would know if you had a luxury timepiece from Continental Diamond. Maybe that's where our next lunch should be. Should we go to
that
lunch?
sounds good.
I don't know. I'm sure they'd serve us a sandwich or something at Continental Diamond. Why
With
not?
a side of Rolex.
Steve Thompson is straight ahead here on CCO.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid.